Hello, friends, and welcome. March 17th, 2024, Virtual Strangers episode 209 is on the air. I am your host, Wes. With me, as always, is my good friend, Ruuts. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Ruuts.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It is St. Patrick's Day. Everybody's saying, tech saying it's green beer time. I said it's green something time. For me, anyway, because I don't drink.
I've spewed many a green foam in my lifetime, Ruuts. I know. I remember those days. They are long since gone, though. But here we are on St. Patrick's Day. Neither one of us wearing green.
I know. Well, you don't know what we're wearing down below. You know what I mean? I could be wearing green socks, green underwear, green everything else, right?
I went looking for my green T-shirt before we went on the air, and I couldn't find it, so we just had to make do with what we have. Although it did remind me of a shirt that I used to have, and I can't find it anymore. Remember the Make 7 Up Yours campaign that 7-Up used to do?
I do.
I had that shirt. Once upon a time, I had that shirt. It said Make 7, and it said Up Yours on the back, which was pretty awesome. I wish I still had it, because only old people would know what it means.
Well, you know, that's all pretty much not all of VR. Most people in VR. Your hat is red and yellow, right?
Yeah.
And then blue somewhere. I don't know. I was gonna say red and yellow, but I say in the primary colors mix. But yeah, it's not red and yellow making green. But
I'm green with envy, Ruuts, because our good friend and co-host Eric's on his way to GDC in San Francisco right now, and I'm here in Kentucky. So I'm green with envy because I get to be here while he gets to be there making huge announcements, making news, making headlines with the foundation and the reveal of Flat2VR Studios. Did you hear, Ruuts? We're making games now.
I did hear, actually, and I was reading this article and other stuff, and I was just telling Dee today how big a news this is. You know, like, I don't know specifically what the game that they're talking about on here. I assume we'll find out soon, right? But regardless of what it is, it's what it means for VR, and each one of these games that gets created by the studio from these big studios, it's going to like start a catalog, and then eventually everybody's going to know about it and jump on board. You're going to have, what we want. I want Helldivers 2 and VR. I want games like that because they're so amazing, and it's not even AAA. That's like a high level game, but it's like underneath AAA, and it's amazing. And there's so many games out there that need to come into VR and up the level even more than it's already at, right? So
yeah, and that's what's so exciting about it, because that's our mission here. That's our goal, is to kind of erase those lines between the traditional catalog and the VR catalog and just make it all the same thing. And if the studios don't want to put the time and resources into bringing these games to us, then we'll just do it ourselves, right? And that's pretty much what the modding community has done over the last several years. And it's that spirit that has led to the community being formed, the Flat2VR community. And then it's this very same spirit that now has led to the foundation of Flat2VR Studios. Only, what we're talking about here is we're talking about a legitimate studio. We're not doing mods. We're doing official VR adaptations of traditional games. And you're right. This is something that everyone wants. Like, everyone wants this. And that's why I think it's such a big deal. And you kind of alluded to the title that we have in development there. And I don't know when we're going to reveal that. But it really isn't about that title or any one specific title. It's about the movement. It's about the continuation of the movement that was started by this community in Elliott years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now we have one example of a game that's going to be what this is, and that's Half-Life 2 VR. The mod. Right. But instead of being a mod, it'll be a legit release on Steam or whatever platform, not just, you know what I mean? It's going to be legendary. It's going to be awesome. So I can't wait.
It'll be pretty cool. So it's interesting that we have, that we even have any kind of headlines or anything already, because really the only thing out there about this in an official capacity was Eric talking about it on Q2C podcast on Friday. And it was from that these articles are being written. And we haven't even made the formal announcement yet, which will probably drop tomorrow. You guys know most of it. I mean, most of it he talked about, but there were key details that he left out that makes it even all that much more exciting. So I highly recommend everyone to kind of watch the Newswire tomorrow, and then you'll get the kind of full extent of what we're going for and all the details. We're not revealing any titles tomorrow. I know a lot of people think we're going to reveal what the title is. We're not going to do that quite yet.
You're revealing the title? You heard it here. Roots. No, just kidding. That's crazy.
But there are definitely significant details that Eric left out when he was talking about it the other day, and people kind of get the big picture a little bit tomorrow and understand that we're doing it and it's legit, and it's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. James says I'm still waiting for a nicely polished Wheel of Fortune VR. And I'm only laughing because like that's actually a good idea. I think there's a lot of games that, you know, it seems like you wouldn't be a big deal, but they actually would be. Dee's been playing Supermarket Simulator, and I guess it's pretty legit for a flat game, right? And I think it would work in VR, and it could come to Quest as well. And I think this is exactly the type of game that should be going to Flat2VR, right? And like there's a mass appeal for a lot of different games, a lot of genres that don't exist in VR and won't for a long time,
right?
Except for something like this, right? So
right, exactly. Simplex said Reddit says that Flat2VR Studios is working with Rockstar IP. Is that true? No, that's not true. And I would caution everyone to take what they're reading today with a grain of salt. I haven't even vetted out this article that Roots has on the screen here, but I've heard through our internal message boards and discussions that there's a lot of misinformation out there where people are just writing things that aren't true, things that we never said. So yeah, again, we're going to make the official statement on it tomorrow, and anything outside of what we say in that, then people should take with a grain of salt. No, we're not yet working with any Rockstar IP, but I wouldn't put any kind of limitations on this group of individuals I work with. Every time I think I've got these guys figured out, they take it up another notch and another notch and another notch. So I think the sky's the limit. They've made a believer out of me, Roots. Like for Impact Reality, for Flat2VR Studios, I literally think the sky's the limit. These guys are breaking down walls every day.
I agree. And that includes you. You're part of it. You guys are all doing an awesome job, not only for the company, but for VR in general. Like all of these things are the moves we've needed in VR for a long time. And like you said, we've been waiting for somebody else to do it. It's like, it's not happening. Okay, I guess let's do it ourselves. And this is how amazing companies are created. So sky's the limit.
If you want something done right, Roots, you hire the right people to do it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, then that's Impact Reality right there.
That's
it.
it.
Studios out there. Actually, and I wanted to, we kind of said it on the stream the other day, but there was only 20 people. But I personally wanted to thank everybody, the patrons and everybody that donated for helping me get my mic that I got here, and Wes getting his headphones, because these are the improvements for the little improvements for the podcast that benefit everybody, and to show again that we take every bit of money and we turn it back into the show, and so yeah.
Right. That's right. Thanks to everyone out there. Again, we really appreciate all the support, not only from the patrons, but from people who leave super chats or donate to the PayPal. All of you really allow us to do things that we otherwise wouldn't be able to do. And Ruuts has a nice, fancy new microphone, and I have a nice, fancy new set of headphones that I badly needed. And Ruuts, these are the new ones. This is the Sony Pulse Elite headset, and
Gonna help
I've
for
got a
live
chance.
streaming, right?
Yes, it's going to help for live streaming because you can pair two devices simultaneously to it, one through Bluetooth and one through their link technology, which is super low latency and high quality. And yeah, no, they've been pretty awesome so far. I've had a chance to play some games in them.
Nice.
They do fit over the headset. They're a little tight, but you know what? They're tight without the headset. They're just a little bit tight on my big ass head, but they fit, and they do fit over the headset, and they sound great.
That's all that matters, really, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah. I haven't tried the microphone yet. So there's a microphone in this thing. You can just pull it out here like that.
Oh, cool.
And
there's a lot more direction, or than because usually there's a mic in there, but I mean it's way up there. But you know what I mean? It's not as good as being in front of your face.
I'm going to switch over to it. I'm going to switch over to it really quick, and you guys can tell me if it sounds good or not. I don't have the highest confidence that it's going to sound good because these headset microphones typically don't. But we're going to try it and see. Let's see here. We're going to go to microphone, and we're going to switch to link adapter. Okay. We're now switched. How does it sound, Ruuts? Does it sound okay?
Yeah, it's okay. It's a little tinny, but this is the thing. Your other mic, I'm assuming, is like adjusted for, sounding really good, and you haven't really messed with that. And that's kind of where maybe that's what we need for your next upgrade, some kind of, not necessarily the Go XLR, but something of that nature to where, like, I'm able to route my audio through my mic, no matter which mic I use, even my headset mics through the Quest Pro or whatever, it still goes through this and first, and so it does all the shit that does to any mic, and so it'll make a shitty mic sound really good, or a good mic sound amazing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm still using my Yeti, which obviously this headset microphone's not going to sound as good as that. But you're right. There's certainly plenty of headroom for me to upgrade a microphone. I don't have. Well, I was about to say I don't have an XLR microphone, but that's not true. I've got a couple actually. Shure microphones.
Really?
But they're not. Yeah, but they're stage microphones. They're not podcast microphones. They're the type you hold that have the ball on the end,
I gotcha.
like regular microphones. But yeah, I do have a couple of those around here somewhere that might actually sound pretty good if I wanted to break them out and try to use them.
Yeah. Well, there's your excuse to get some kind of interface. I say not Go XLR. I know Jim Hall kind of was giving Dee a hard time because she just got a Go XLR, and he's like, they don't make them anymore. They're basically, he said, they're discontinued. The company's still selling them, so they still warranty them. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't just fucking drop the ball. Same thing with the Reverb, G2. There'll be a few years before you run into an issue of not being able to use a Go XLR, and I think it's one of the best ones. I like it for a lot of different reasons.
You know who loves it when it's interface?
My mom!
I kind of missed that, actually. Somebody said, you said something about being really tight. I said, who is who's really tight? And then so the chat said something earlier, and I'll see it here in a second. I can't remember what it was. It was some kind of a joke. My mom joke.
So Rex BK09 says better mic now. Well, this is still the PlayStation mic. I'm still on it. I'll switch back to my Yeti right now in just a second. I'm changing it right now, and now I'm back to my Blue Yeti. So that's the difference. We're on Yeti now. We're on Yeti now. We're on PlayStation now. Now we're on PlayStation. Now we're on PlayStation, and now we're back to the Yeti. So there's your head-to-head, back-to-back comparison.
Yeah, I think the Yeti sounds better. It has more podcasty sound,
Right. SpryGuy says the Yeti's a lot better.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. I didn't. The good news is I did not buy this headset for the microphone.
Absolutely. And it can be fine-tuned.
Yeah. The only thing I'll use this microphone is for playing multiplayer on my PlayStation. That's it. We're talking about doing anything else, then I don't know. I might use it on a real-time review too. That's kind of the thing. The big selling point for me on this is that I can do my PlayStation real-time reviews on it. So yeah, it makes me want to play a PlayStation game now just to try it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, we're going to talk about some PlayStation games today. We're going to talk about some PC stuff today. Because we didn't do a full episode of Strangers in the Night on Friday, we decided to carry over our game impressions to today's show. So after we take a look at a few headlines, we're going to talk about Scars Above. We played that using the Universal Unreal Injector mod. We're going to talk about Akka Arrh on PlayStation VR 2. And then I may even say a few words about the Twilight Zone VR, which I did check out on PSVR 2 today. So lots of cool stuff coming today. Headlines, we've got game impressions, we've got reminders. So why don't we kick it off and say hello to our friends in chat. Friends like Rex BK09 says my headphones were turned up. Well, there you go. Vilozix is here. He says, oh, there are new PSVR 2 games. Bro, there's new PSVR 2 games every week. People don't want to see that, but it is true. Rogue TR. What's up, Rogue TR? What's up, Technoglitch? Space Denison. James. Silver Nexus. Four Wheelin'. What's up, SpryGuy? Bad Robo's here. He said that the headphones sound good. They're just a little quiet. Silver Nexus, I think I already said hello to. Looper, the Underground Game Cat is here. ET2K9 now here as well. Rubber Fingers is here. What's up, Rubber Fingers? Duggars K is here. Vachumada Saho says howdy, strangers. Howdy, Mr. Saho. Simplex is here. Hello, Simplex. Scott, the PSVR Game Cat for life, says, oh my god, it's GTA 6 VR. Let's go. You nailed it, bro. You nailed it.
You know, there's all sorts of rumors going on about GTA 6. Did you see that there's I posted it earlier in a different channel, but it was something about, I think it's AGOG or something. It was very similar to, in the VR industry, to Sweet Baby Inc., where a lot of people are freaking out about, having a lot of things injected into the game through Sweet Baby. I don't know if you've heard too much about it, but anyway, That's the rumor, is that GTA 6 is using Sweet Baby Inc. They're a company that you go to if you want to. It allows you to get some kind of a score that allows you to get funding for your game, like government funding, because you essentially make your game more woke, and you get a higher score on some kind of a scale. And then if you get a high enough scale, then you get funding for it. And then so like that's why you're seeing a lot of these games have a lot of weirdness to it, because there's actual money and funding behind it. But anyway, so I thought that was interesting. That's the biggest rumor I heard, is that GTA 6 is involved with Sweet Baby Inc. And I haven't heard if that's true or not, but it could not be a good thing.
I'm sure people are going to love it.
Either way, right?
Yeah. They did something similar with The Last of Us 2, where they brought these social people in to consult on things that are happening in the story and the characters and stuff. And you remember people loved it, right? Last of Us Part 2 came out, people were just unanimously happy.
I think that was one of the games that was what, and like I said, I mean, I'm not saying that Sweet Baby's like this is legitimately true, but it seems to have some kind of credibility to it. And then I just read about that new company AGOG, that's now starting the exact same thing for VR, and it that does concern me now, because I don't think VR is big enough to have all that bullshit injected into every game. Because there's so much that, like, I haven't played Last of Us Part 2 because I kind of like, because of some of that, even though I've heard the game is really good, like the gameplay is amazing, right? So I don't know. It's weird.
AGOG Universal Bullshit Injector Mob.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is.
I guess it's called an ESG score is what, thank you, Gabriel. It sounds a little bit more legit when I know what the fuck I'm saying. But yeah, so the ESG score, and so like you get the high on this ESG score, you qualify for funding. Well, we all know that a lot of developers need funding. And so you have a company that's like, hey, we'll pay you, like, not only what you need, we're going to pay you an extra 100 grand, 500 grand. I don't know, whatever ridiculous numbers thrown out there. And a lot of studios, I don't think, will understand what that's going to do to their game. Because then all of a sudden you have all these weird choices and things that are being changed that ultimately will turn off a big portion of the game, people that play the game, and then won't play it. If it gets bad enough, I won't play the game. I don't care what game it is. So,
well, that makes sense because we all know that Rockstar needs money. So
that's where the rumor kind of falls apart. And that's why I said it's a rumor. It may be completely untrue. Exactly the same thing that we just heard with that Reddit rumor about Flat2VR Studios. And you know what I mean? It's like just people throw shit out there because they want to see it's funny. You know, let's see if people will believe it. So
they can do what they want to with it. As long as it has a strong female lead, then I'll be happy.
Yeah, all female cast. Actually, you know, as long as it's good, I don't care. You know, just make the story good and the game good. That's all I care about. You know, games are supposed to be fun.
Exactly. Games are supposed to be fun. What's up, D? D's in the chat. Shout out D, by the way, hanging out with us on Friday and shooting some zombies. I'm ready to get back in already.
Yeah, you guys were kicking some ass. The only thing that it sucked about that, and next time we'll have to get the Discord set up in her PlayStation or whoever's, is I'm not big on not hearing what she was saying, only because
right.
I know I'm talking over somebody and I don't like doing that because I don't know if she's saying something or vice versa, right? So
hopefully next time we'll have a little more time to set up and we can figure that out. It's not hard. I've set the PlayStation Discord chat up myself before, so we can get it working pretty quickly and easily, I do believe.
Yep, absolutely.
Michelle B, Mind Jive, Scott's Wild Camper, Not Sure Brondo, App J, Mepper. Hello, friends. What's up? Jerk Store CEO. He says, do the kids even say up yours anymore? No, they had no idea what that means. Who else is here? Midlife Kids here. Berber Cat is here as well. Q Creator.
Looper's got a question. You and Wes might be able to answer this. This may be something you know or don't know. He says he wonders if the official Flat2VR thing will be limited to Quest and PC, as I'm assuming, or will it come to PlayStation as well? I would imagine.
Well, what it is at first doesn't mean that our ultimate goal, obviously, is to erase these lines on all platforms. You know, one game may be a Quest game. The next one might be a PlayStation game. We're not limiting ourselves and focusing only on one. Now, I imagine like most VR studios, and this is not anything official. This is just me speculating at this point. I imagine like most VR studios, we're going to focus a lot on Quest at first because we got to make money. Like we can't do it if we're not making money, and that's where the money is right now. But we're absolutely committed to building up all of VR, including PC, including PlayStation, and we're not going to limit ourselves by declaring for a single platform.
Yeah. Absolutely. Especially like you said at first, what it is now when it comes out isn't what it's going to be even a year or two from now. Right. You know, the hope is that it's going to revolutionize Okay, let's put fast forward 10 years, and somebody's doing a YouTube video of how AAA gaming legit came to VR. Here it is. This is the story, and it starts. I could see Eric's smiling face at the beginning of the thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's everybody's played a part, and this is kind of what's cool about the way everything's kind of unfolding. Is everybody's playing a part and in unfolding this whole just everything. And I think we're not that far off from an exciting time for VR, right? So
Yeah, it is an exciting time, and things just keep getting more exciting. So I think you're absolutely right. Black Market Honey is here. Hooked Worm, the Hoosier Game Cat, Fargosoft, Four Wheelin', and that is as far to the north as we can go. So if I missed you, I apologize. Welcome, everyone. Do we have any Slippies today, Roots? I didn't see.
we did. We actually had quite a bit of Slippies. There was one Slippy I was going to say something, but the list sometimes takes so long, and then of course I don't help because I interject topics in there. But that's why you got to listen to the intro, man. You miss topics. It's not just Wes reading a name, right? Or a bunch of names. So.
Alejandro, D Cat Allergic Game Cat slipped in. He says, do the Elite headset fit well with the PSVR 2? It fits. Like, does it fit well? I mean, it fits as well as overhead headphones fit over PSVR 2. It's a little tight, to be honest, but they do fit. They're not uncomfortable. They're just a little tight on the top of the head, the headband, so to speak. Who else slipped in here? I thought I saw somebody else. Mickey Barrios is here.
Do you see yourself using them, like when you're using VR, and you're not?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yes. The only problem is I can't use them with Quest, or maybe I could if I got like a USB adapter to plug them into the USB-C on the side of that thing, plug the dongle into it. But what's the point at that point?
Why? Why? It's weird, man. Like they're just, sometimes I wonder what, like, the direction of things. Like, I guess Meta just doesn't seem to be interested in making things streamlined and easy, right? Like, it's just, they add features, but it's like so far down the road, and you're like, oh, great, that feature's added, but why was that not on there 7 years ago? Well, 6 years ago. So,
I may be able to connect up through a regular Bluetooth connection with Quest. I'm not sure if that's possible. If that's possible, then they might work like that. But these headphones also support a regular wired 3.5 jack as well, so I could plug them into my Quest if I needed to.
Yeah, so those are kind of nice. But do you get all the same technology or no? Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know, but too much about that.
Eric slipping in. What's up, Eric? In San Francisco, I imagine by now.
Slippy. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. You may be jealous about not going, but you got to avoid San Francisco. What a shithole! I can't pass up an opportunity to just like throw that city under the bus, man. They need new leadership. I don't care. I say keep it left. Just get the ones that are in. The people that are in there don't care. If you live in San Francisco, they don't care about you. Just look around. You know what I mean? That's crazy to me. I don't know how people aren't like throwing everybody out of Congress, left and right, because it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Mark Smith slipping in as well. Cop Dog slipping in. Who else? Beard of Power 666. Le Cool Guy is here. William Mumford, you're right. We did have a lot of slippies. Like Flippy Nuggets is here. Del Gato in the house as well. Mal's here. Yeah, a lot of people slipping in there at the end. So thanks everyone for showing up. Eric, you just missed it, bro. We talked about Flat2VR to kick off the show, and people are excited about it. People are asking questions about all the misinformation that's out there, and we're setting them straight.
Confirmed here. GTA 6 coming to Quest 2. No, just kidding.
Beavis is here. What's up,
Nice.
Lord
Up,
Beavis?
Beavis.
Good to see you. And Samson as well. What's up, Samson?
Derail.
All right. Oh, shit. There is Derail. What's up, Daryl? Good to see you.
He says, Roots 2024. I agree.
True Prophecy 22 slipping in as well. Anyway, what's up, Ryan Brannon? People just keep on. Eric says, "Can you do it again, please? I missed it." No, bro. I'm just going to tell you what I told everyone else. Just wait and see. We're going to announce tomorrow, and you can learn all about it then. Basically, people wanted to know if we're developing GTA 6. And I told them to keep their expectations in check with regard to that. Although it could happen one day, I'm not going to limit us to anything. I think anything's possible.
Well, here's the good news too: is once this thing gets rolling and enough names get out there with their games as examples, you could literally go to studios that you want the game and be like, "Hey, come on over. Like, we've got this, all these people. We need you." You know what I mean? It could be one person's job to go after those games and studios, right? And maybe
that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. We're building up a profile for ourselves to say, "Hey, do you want your game to be in VR? Let us do it for you. Like, just give us permission to do it. We can do it." And I think that's going to be the main focus of tomorrow's announcement is, hey guys, we can do it. We have
here's the examples ability of some of the best, probably the best games that I've played in the last few months in VR. All right, like every one of them, even the one that we played today, that game was amazing in VR because of that mod. And that's Absolutely. Not even a specialized mod. Imagine what these modders can do with the gaming developer behind them, giving them the code and doing it legit as an actual part of the game. It's exactly. Like you said, different, right? It's not a mod. It's bringing legit games into VR and not only just bringing them, but all those ways of tweaking it in a first person with the just everything. So
right, we're not hot wiring the car; they're giving us the keys.
Correct, and they're giving you the ability to soup it up any way you want.
That's right.
So
that is right. Destiny 11 is joining us with the sloppy slip in.
Sloppy,
welcome.
You know who loves a sloppy slip in, Wes?
My mom.
Oh, that's the best way, I'll tell you. Man, Destiny. Can you imagine Destiny 3 in VR? Let's do it.
Oh, I'm down. Let's go. That's what D wants. What's up, Marcio, the Sleepless Night Underground Game Cat? What's up? Alhimde wants to know where the announcement will be made. Well, we're sending out a press release to all the media outlets and influencers out there. So I would think that you'll just see articles pop up. You may see some of these YouTubers in their little news clips may bring it up and talk about it there.
I know where they'd probably find, and I can't assume, but I'm assuming. I guess I can assume. They could probably find it on XR Update, right? On your guys'.
I would imagine that's very likely.
And that's probably going to have all the accurate information and none of the misaccurate because you guys are writing it. So
I don't know. I heard the guy that runs that website's a bit of a hack. So
I heard he's really good. So it kind of balances.
People putting forth their requests now. Life of Pi, EverQuest, Battlefield 1. It's all possible.
This is another thing too that I was telling D earlier that differentiates even the UEVR mod from what's going on here. Like I play games like World of Warcraft, or I play games like Helldivers 2 that have very aggressive anti-cheats, and they're with other people, and so I'll never play those games in a UEVR mod or a mod of that nature. But it changes when you have the developer say, "Hey, I want to be in VR," And then now we can play these games legitimately in VR with the way that the devs would want it to be done, right? Like it's different. It's a completely next level. And like, so as soon as I read the article, I was like, oh my God, this is huge. And I can see it right down the way. This is way bigger than people think. And it is exciting, and exciting for VR, and exciting for Impact, exciting for Flat2VR Studios. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And Eric with the $5 super chat says, I'm super proud of what we're doing. Stay tuned.
Yep.
So, yeah, stay tuned. Anyways, we got a lot to talk about. So why don't we go ahead and get into some headlines.
Hey kids, it's Mort Grizzly's HappyFunLand!
You had never heard of HappyFunLand theme park,
This theme park you're breaking into here was built by a guy named Mort Grizzly.
or its tragic tale.
You ever heard anything about Mort Grizzly or Randy Roden? Or about that terrible tragedy that closed this whole place down?
When you agreed to meet a total stranger named Larry
Yep, so I'm Larry. Thanks for entering my ad.
in the middle of a South Florida swamp. Perhaps if you had known of the grisly events that happened there, you wouldn't have agreed to the job.
South Florida's happiest and funnest theme park!
Hey, I'm Rob, creator of HappyFunLand, an upcoming VR horror game about exploring an abandoned theme park.
Where fun conquers boredom and fantasy vanquishes reality. Should just said where fun comes to die, be more like it.
In the game, you've agreed to meet a stranger named Larry
So come on, hop on the boat, we can get started.
to explore the remains of Mort Grizzly's HappyFunLand, built in the late 1960s by the firearms, alcohol, and tobacco kingpin, and closed soon after his death.
You know, there's a rumor he's cryogenically frozen here somewhere in the park.
Once making it inside, you'll discover more of the park's dark history and even ride many of its former attractions, such as Ferris Squirrel's Nutty Excursion. It's a happy little grizzly world. Pirate boat ride, Marauders of the Tropic Isles. And the haunted house dark ride, Grizzly Manor. No lines, no waiting, no escape. HappyFunLand will be releasing later this year on SteamVR, and we're excited to have partnered with Perp Games to bring HappyFunLand to the PlayStation VR 2 with both digital and physical releases.
Have a fun and happy time at Mort Grizzly's HappyFunLand.
All coming later this year.
Hey kids,
VR horror HappyFunLand coming to PSVR 2 and SteamVR this month. This is from Scott Hayden at Road to VR. Perp Games and Spectral Illusions announced the VR horror title HappyFunLand is coming to PSVR 2 and SteamVR headsets this month, letting you explore the abandoned remains of a theme park that promises some darkly comedic frights. Here's how the studios describes it. You had never heard of HappyFunLand theme park or its tragic tale when you agreed to meet a total stranger named Larry in the middle of a South Florida swamp. Perhaps you would have known about the grisly events that happened there. You wouldn't have agreed to the job. In addition to a swath of spooky rides, the VR horror adventure also includes puzzles and combat too, as you defend yourself against the park's enemy automatons, which have mysteriously come to life. It's pretty clear from the trailer that HappyFunLand isn't exactly a kiddie ride, as in the UK and Europe, it's provisionally rated PEGI 18. The studios say this includes cartoon violence and gore, crude and mature humor, strong language, suggested themes, as well as tobacco, drugs, and alcohol references. All the good stuff. Notably, the studio also describes HappyFunLand as a high-speed, turbulent, insane VR thrill ride that may cause motion sickness in certain users. So if you're particularly sensitive, you may want to sit this one out. You can get it on PSVR 2 and SteamVR headsets digitally on March 22nd, priced at $30. There's also a physical PlayStation 5 edition in the UK, which you can grab directly from Perp Games. Ruuts, I'm excited about this, man. This looks like our Until Dawn Rush of Blood goes off rails VR horror adventure that we've all kind of always wanted. And I'm surprised it's taken someone this long to give us the haunted carnival that we've all wanted for so many years now.
Yeah, absolutely. All the good stuff. I thought that was good. What's funny is I guess Space Dennison said Ghost Town Mine Ride. And that's kind of, in a sense, similar to, I felt like Ghost Town Mine Ride, I wanted to be really good, right? It just was.
It was okay.
It was okay, but it's what I wanted what seems like it's going to be, hopefully, to be. And I think the fact that it's like all cartoony and like that kind of, it's very surreal, right? It's like in a nightmare. I have something that's supposed to be cute and funny and cool, being creepy and horrorish can be actually really kind of creepier than just about anything. So for sure.
Yeah, and Ghost Town Mine Ride was pretty good. Most of that was in the mines, though. It didn't really feel like a carnival attraction after you got past like the beginning bit of it. So we always called Ghost Town Mine Ride like the poor man's Rush of Blood, but it wasn't anywhere near what Rush of Blood was. This looks like a legit haunted theme park VR game. And the jury's still kind of out on how actually scary this is going to be, because sometimes it seems like it's a little scary, but most of the time it seems like it's erring more on the spooky side of things, right? The spooky, creepy type of horror, which I'm fine with too.
There's two different kinds, right?
Right. And I like them both. Obviously, I like blood-curdling, scary horror games more, but I like a nice, spooky, haunted thrill ride as well. Excited that we're getting this so soon, Ruuts. I mean, this is coming out this week. We pretty much expected that this was going to be something that came late this year, and just out of nowhere, Perp Games announces, hey, not only is it coming soon, it's coming like really soon.
Hopefully, you know who else is coming real soon? All the time. That is exciting. Hopefully it's got no issues, you know what I mean? I assume it will come out and be run perfect. I get worried about every release, especially if I thought it was ways off. And then once it comes out and it is good, I'm like, okay. Yeah. So, somebody was saying, that they, the 19120, I think, says Pulse works better for them under the headset, supports the PSVR 2 from slipping, also helps the headphones from falling off when looking up.
Yeah, that's how you put it on. That's how I put on all headphones over the headset, as I kind of stick them underneath and up, kind of behind the band a little bit. And the way these are tapered off and soft, it does kind of hold it in place. So that's
nice.
true. But no, man, think about what we've got going on here this month. You would think it's October, Ruuts, because this week we've got Twilight Zone and we've got HappyFunLand, and then next week we're going to have Madison, or maybe like 10 days or so after that, we're going to have Madison come out, which people are saying is like Gamertag VR saying it's the scariest game you ever played. I'm super excited for that one as well.
You need to check your expectations, because you're have to get yourself, because of that and all that, so hyped that even though it'll be really good, maybe you'll expect, you know what I mean, that it's even better than it is. So how can we make Wes think it's dog shit so he can go in there and be like, dude, this is fucking amazing? It's hard, right? Because you know,
Yeah.
you hear GT say that, and he not only said that, but he's like, Wes, this was you know what I mean? He prefaced it with your name. So it makes you think, dude, okay, he knows what you like. He knows what you're, you know. So I guess if we do a show tomorrow, I'll ask him, you know, is it that good? Is Wes going to be blown away? Because I don't want you to get too high.
I think we are going to do one tomorrow. I think it's just going to be us, GT, and Brad. But I think we're going to be on the air tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm hyped for Madison. Do I believe it's going to be the best horror game ever? No, I don't. So you don't have to convince me not to get super hyped for it, because I am super hyped for it. But I don't think it's going to be the best. I'm super hyped because I know it's going to be really good. Like I'm sure that it's going to be very good. And we don't get very many very good horror games. Not like legit scary horror games. Like even like Resident Evil, while they're great, those are like action horror games, right? Like Madison's more of like the old school creepy stealth, you know, survival horror games, which is different, and it's something I look forward to losing my mind in just a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. Well, I'm like you. I you know, it doesn't matter what genre it is. I just want it to be really good, you know, because it's like you think about puzzle games, and you could have, I don't enter any. I'm not gonna throw any puzzle name out there and throw them under the bus. But then you say, okay, you put that up next to Wanderer, especially the new Wanderer, and it's like it can be. It's like the game is here, and then the other game is so fucking far up. When you go in there, you're just, oh my God, this is so cool. The story's so cool. It looks amazing. The puzzles and just all of the shit, right? And so I want that in everything. And I know I'm not going to get that in every single game, but we're starting to get that more and more often in VR. And so that's what I'm looking for. Because, you know, I was thinking about this recently. You know, yours and Eric's story is very similar. VR saved you, pulled you back into gaming. That's not my story. My story is I was gaming, still gaming, was doing all sorts of gaming. I wasn't playing a lot of games that was just like I do now. Whatever's new, whatever everybody's streaming, I was playing all that. And so VR was just another addition, albeit when the game is done well, a better addition. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes the gameplay in the flight games are just so good and so fun. I don't care if I'm in the world or not. I'd rather be in the world. And so I think we're getting closer to that, especially with that announcement earlier. And so I think Madison is like that level, or getting up to that level of what we're talking about. So,
yeah, the team that ported Madison over, very talented team, and we'd be lucky if we ever were to get developers of that pedigree at Flat2VR Studios. Anyways, that's not the only horror-related news that we got this week from Perp Games. We actually got quite a bit more, and that's where we're going next. Slender: The Arrival VR reaches Steam and PSVR 2 this September. I want to point out before I even read this article, Ruuts, how cool is Perp Games for launching all these great horror games, and every headline reads Steam and PSVR 2, Steam and PSVR 2, Steam and PSVR 2. These are not Quest games, which I absolutely love.
yeah, because that means there's going to be actual power behind the graphics and gameplay. You know, I would submit that if what's it called, that Quest put out, man, I'm giving a brain fart, but the that AAA game that's Main Fan was talking about, that we're going to be talking about earlier.
Oh, Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, Assassin's Creed. I can't remember. But if Assassin's Creed had came out in Steam and PSVR 2, I think we would have seen a completely different game. Not that the other one wasn't good, but Quest is a limitation. And that makes me very happy.
Slender, so this is from Henry Stockdale at Upload VR. Slender, the Arrival VR secures a release date on Steam and PSVR 2. Initially released in 2013, Slender, the Arrival is the successor to Parsec Productions' Slender, the 8 Pages, which finds the protagonist Lauren searching for her missing friend. Following October's big 10th anniversary update, which added a new chapter, publisher Perp Games previously dropped a brief teaser before announcing the release date. However, nothing else has been revealed about Slender the Arrival VR beyond these teasers. While gameplay can briefly be seen in the trailer, this appears to be the flat screen version. Right now, it's unclear if the VR adaptation will launch separately or as an update/add-on to the flat screen versions, which Blue Isle Publishing publishes on PS5, Steam, and more. When asked for clarification previously, Perp Games provided no comment. Slender the Arrival VR reaches PSVR 2 and Steam on September 13th, 2024. In a press release, Perp Games states, information on other VR formats will be announced shortly. This article initially published on January 15th and updated on March 12th. All right, so it's Slenderman Roots in VR. And I never played the original Slender the Arrival, but I think it was a fairly well-received PCVR game. Or I guess not really just PCVR, PC and consoles. And I know that there for a while, Slenderman was a fairly popular thing with the kids. So what do you think, man? What do you think the excitement level should be for this game? We really don't know very much about it as of right now.
I mean, I guess I don't know. Like you said, I don't even know too much about Slenderman. You know what I mean? I know that a lot of people are scared, kind of like we grew up with Bloody Mary, right? It was kind of the youth's version of that, and so I think targeting that group of people, really, the fact that Perp Games is involved makes me think that it's not going to be crap. So is it going to be creepy, right? That's the thing. This is supposed to be a creepy thing. It looks creepy. So it'll be interesting to see, what kind of game it is.
It looks like something for that Five Nights at Freddy crowd, right? That group of younger horror lover that, there's generational differences between what these kids find scary and what we find scary. Hopefully there's some good middle ground here, though, where everyone will be able to get some enjoyment out of it. I know Slenderman was a big thing for quite some time. There were even cases of these disturbed children like murdering their friends and doing it for Slenderman. Have you heard any of those stories?
What was that? Sorry, I was reading that people were saying they thought Bloody Mary was a cocktail, which it is. And it's also something that like people would go in the bathroom and you'd say, I'm not even going to say it because, I've already said it once. It's like Beetlejuice, right? You go and say that like several times, 3 times in the mirror, and supposedly people got scratches on their bodies, and like I don't know if there's validity to it too. Anyway, so what were you saying about actually what we are talking about here?
I was talking about the Slenderman urban legend and how big it got for a little while, and that there were even children that were like murdering their friends and stuff to try to appease Slenderman. Did you hear about any of that?
I did hear about that. I think it's demonic, and I think it's crazy, right? Like, how crazy. So if you've heard of all of that, that adds a little bit of mystique and creepiness to it, right? So if they do this well, it could be a pretty creepy game.
Yeah. What if the game has you murdering your friends to appease Slenderman?
Yeah.
Would that be good?
That would be amazing.
Sounds like a good concept for a game.
Yeah.
You have to make sacrifices to the game.
See, I think that'll be that's Wes's next step after Impact and everything blows up, and Wes is like got a little bit of free time to breathe, he'll start getting a group of people around him that know how to make a game, and you'll make the game, and it'll be amazing.
Maybe. Brandon VR says, say French horror 3 times using the mirror and you get herpes.
Well, you know, that I heard that's true. I don't know. I hope not. I'm not going to go say that then.
Tatum says, yes, Slender Man and Siren Head. Creepy stuff. Lots of lore written. Yeah, there's a Siren Head game coming too. From one of the original creators of Silent Hill.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They announced that like a year or 2 ago. I don't know that it's going to be a VR game, but hopefully by the time it comes out, we'll be into that age where there's no difference. Games come out and they're in VR or they're not. Like,
yeah,
that's the goal. Geisen said the friend survived, but the two girls are still serving time. Oh, so they didn't actually murder the friend; they just tried to murder the friend. There you go.
Well, that's why they're serving time. if they would have succeeded, there would have been nobody to tell the tale.
Imagine they get out of jail and they're like, "Wow, there's VR now," and then they go into VR and like Slender Man's in the headset waiting for them.
I hope so. That would be like karma right there, right? It's like, hello, bitches, we're here. Guess who's not getting out of VR today? That would be kind of scary, actually. I don't know if I want to die in VR.
Ed Robo knows Siren Head, apparently.
Really?
Way back. Yeah. Anyways, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool news for PSVR this week with all these new horror games getting announced. We also got another pretty significant headline with regard to PSVR 2.
Hey Hellsweepers! Last December, we released our first content update themed Treachery, and we're glad to know that many of you enjoyed the new content and improvements. Since then, we've been busy crafting the next chapter of our roadmap. Let's begin with the star of the update, the new enemy, Wrath, which is actually 2 enemies in one. You've seen the concepts, and now we're working on 3D models and of course the design of the abilities and the animations. Speaking of enemies, we're also working on elemental bosses. They are not in our original roadmap, but we thought they'd add a cool twist to the gameplay. Like elemental enemies, these new variants will have unique abilities. Also, a huge thank you to everyone who voted in our weapon poll. We hear you on the katana, but we really want to spend more time on its mechanics to make it stand out from the other swords in the game. So we're currently focused on developing the magic staff, which was the second most voted option. We've also been busy updating our Unity render pipeline from standard to universal. It's a hefty task, but it's crucial for boosting performance on PSVR 2 and standalone devices like Quest 2 and 3. This will allow us to explore workflows that can help improve the visuals. There's more that we're working on which aren't ready for previews yet, but we're on schedule to release this huge update in the first quarter of this year. We'll be sure to share more sneak peeks in the coming weeks on our Discord and Twitter. As always, thank you for your support and for joining us on our dev journey.
Foveated rendering will boost Hellsweeper's visuals on PSVR 2. This from mixnews.com. Hellsweeper VR will soon get foveated rendering support on PlayStation VR 2. A short video shows the graphical difference that it makes, and it's talking about something that got shared on social media that showed the before and after of the PSVR 2 update that's coming, and it's a very significant update. Mixed Realms has released another teaser for the upcoming Wrath content and graphics update. It shows 3 short scenes from Hellsweeper VR, one without foveated rendering, one with foveated rendering. The resolution is significantly higher, the textures are sharper, and the shadows are more detailed. All in all, a significant visual upgrade. The video was posted on X and is heavily compressed. I have asked the studio for an uncompressed version, but have not received a reply. The studio hopes to release the update by the end of March. It will bring a new weapon, the Magician Staff, a new enemy, Wrath, and improved bosses. The action roguelike Hellsweeper is available on PlayStation Store for PSVR 2, on Steam for PC, and on the Quest Store. All 3 versions will receive a graphics update, but PSVR 2 is likely to benefit the most due to foveated rendering. Dynamic foveated rendering is a superpower of PSVR 2 that often goes unused by studios. The reason is that many studios are using an older Unity render pipeline that doesn't support the rendering technique because development started years ago, and they are reluctant to switch to a newer one because of the effort involved. We had to break the game to fix it, but it's worth it, Mixed Elms writes on X. So this is something, Roots, that we've heard recently with No Man's Sky. People wondered why No Man's Sky was such garbage on PSVR 2 when it launched, and then a few months later they release an update, and now not only is it beautiful, but it's better looking on PlayStation VR than it is on PC even. And people are wondering how that's possible and why so many of these studios aren't supporting dynamic foveated rendering on launch. And this is the answer why, man. You have to quite literally update to a different version of Unity to use it. So all of these Unity games that started development 3 years ago literally can't use the foveated rendering. It's a very intensive process to switch the game over to this new version of Unity. And typically it takes a sizable team months to do it. But here we are. Mixed Realms has done it for Hellsweeper, and I think that's great because I think that this is a very good game here that has been overlooked for a few months now because of the rough launch that it had on PlayStation VR and Quest, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, at least, we have an answer now, right? The question now becomes, because what you said is true. Okay. So on launch, and that's fine. On launch, I guess it came out, you couldn't get it fixed for whatever reason, you're working on it. But there really is, to me, is no excuse for not using it at some point. You know what I mean? Right. If you've decided, no, I'm not. Let me preface this. If your game looks like shit and you've decided you're not going to rework the game and use the foveated rendering, there's a problem. Like if your game looks really good already, I get it. Like, is the return going to be worth it? But why would you not want your game to look the best it can and use the foveated rendering? And at least we're getting past this now, right? Because every year that goes by, we're getting past the point where people are using that engine. And Looper's got a point. He says that No Man's Sky was not Unity. It was made in their own engine, but I guarantee it's the same reason that Wes just said. Their engine was
it wasn't No Man's Sky. It was another game. You're right, Looper. I named the wrong game. But we heard this from someone else recently. It wasn't just, this isn't the first time we've heard this.
It's very possible that even the engine that they used for No Man's Sky had to be reworked for the same reason, right? It wasn't compatible with foveated rendering and needed to be reworked. So at least that would be my assumption.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's the same concept. That's why I said No Man's Sky, because basically they said the same thing, that they had to pretty much break the game and rebuild it to use these new features, and that it was not easy. So yeah.
And that's it, and that's a lot. And I take for granted that everybody knows developing like a lot of these studios do, right? Like it may not be easy, and some of them might not know or be able to do it. You know what I mean? It's not just it's going to be really hard to do. They just aren't capable, and it is what it is. And yeah.
So what about it, Root? So we kind of glazed over Hellsweeper when it launched, largely because of these visual issues. We just decided that we'd come back to it when it's ready. But I do think that this is a great game. I never even tried co-op in it yet. So what do you say after this update drops? You want to get back in and see what Hellsweeper has to offer?
Yeah. I mean, the video, the trailer there looked amazing. The fact that the graphics are going to be better. I think we made the right choice. Somebody was saying earlier that in the chat that whoever didn't pre-order this and was waiting made the right choice, right? That the people that prepaid paid kind of for all these things to be made. And I guess that kind of updates to be made. And I'm not going to knock a studio for fixing a game and making it really good. What I'll knock them for is having a game be broken and then dusting their hands off and walking away, like Gambit and shit. Like that kind of stuff really pisses me off the more I think about it. So I say kudos to this developer. And yeah, I absolutely am interested in going back in and checking out their game and raving about it if it's really fun, which it looks like it's fun. I haven't played too much of, we kind of went in a little bit. So.
Yeah, we went in a little bit before it launched on PC, and then after launch, I tried it on PlayStation, and it was just terrible. So I haven't really been back in since then. Like, it just killed all of my enthusiasm for it after I tried it on PlayStation. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like, that was one of my more anticipated releases last year, and then I ended up barely even playing it.
Yeah, very disappointing. Grandpa's Barbecue Gamer, our barbecuer Game Cat with an Australian $5 donation says, Wes Ruuts, damn, please approach Larian Studios. Baldur's Gate 3 in VR would be epic. I agree 100%. And it wouldn't be anything against Resolution Games, but for me, I'd be Demio. What? Who? What? Because Baldur's Gate 3 is such an amazing game. And it's just so much depth to it. I'd love to play it in VR.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah, that's essentially what we intend to do. All of these studios and all of these games, we're open to all of it, and we're going to be on the GDC floor with a booth this year, just for that specific reason, to talk to these studios and let them know that we can make their game into a VR game.
And you're going to have, I'm assuming, some demos of some of the other games that people get of the Unreal Engine VR. Guys, I'll tell you what, man, I go into game after game, and I'm just more and more blown away with these games in VR. They feel like they're AAA. Crash Bandicoot, It's About Time is fucking amazing. It's one of the best platformers I've played in VR. Wasn't made for VR. It feels like it was, but it's crazy.
Yeah, that's precisely what they're going to be doing. They're going to have a couple stations set up with some of the better unofficial VR adaptations, the mods, just to show some of these studios and their representatives what's possible even without a budget, right? That's kind of the deal. And while we're on the topic, why don't we go ahead and get into our game impressions, because that's precisely where we're starting off at, is with playing a pretty solid traditional game through the magic of Unreal Engine VR Injector.
What is this place? Hello, Dr. Ward. This used to be a beautiful world. Until it was destroyed. My head! Did the Metahedron bring us here?
Since the dawn of humankind, our species has gazed toward the skies and wondered whether we were truly alone. 6 months ago, we got our answer. The whole world is relying on us. Let's do this.
The metahedron's energy levels are rising.
Power supply failing.
Hermes is being pulled towards it.
Hang on, everyone.
Your friends are trapped just as you are. If you want to make it home, you must uncover the secrets of this place and face its dangers.
Oh my god!
Your curiosity will guide you forward. For inside every plant and creature hides the key to your power.
There's the brain. The deuterocerebrum seems to be generating an enzyme used to create a cryogenic fluid. So if I take a sample, I might be able to replicate the process.
Your tools are your weapons. Each one that you create will help you defend and destroy. Your cunning will defeat your enemies, so plan your attacks carefully. Each foe is a puzzle you must solve to survive.
Now's my chance. It's infesting the water.
This knowledge I bestow is but the beginning. You must become stronger. You must journey further. You must prepare yourself for what is yet to come.
Stars above. Roots, I want to sit here and say Scars Above from so-and-so studio, which came out on so-and-so date, but I have no idea what studio developed this game, and I think it came out on Steam about a year ago.
Yeah, it's 2023. I'm not sure what, sometime last year.
But it caught my eye at the time because I remember watching VRAN, and VRAN was modding a bunch of stuff and playing it in Reshade, as we were often would do back then. And there was a Steam demo out for this game, and it looked just awesome, even just in Reshade. And he kept going on and on and on about it. And then, fast forward a year, the game drops on Steam, and now we have the ability to just take these Unreal games and just play them in full-on VR. So I picked this game up forever ago, before the mod even dropped, in anticipation of this day. So a fitting title, Roots, for our first real coverage of UEVR to be this game. What did you think about Scars Above?
Well, first off, I do want to preface this with the fact that it is not the game they're turning into VR. Jerk's Store CEO is asking, this is actually already been brought into VR with the other mod, the UEVR mod, right?
Right.
It's just a mod. This is, we just went into this. For me, the D kind of named it. She said it has a very, very big far point feel to it. It's, not many games do I play where the story is like the number one thing that I'm interested in, because the gameplay is fun. The shooting, the action, I like the combat. I like the fact that I can actually roll, and it's very it just feels good. But what I like better is the story, and I'm very intrigued to know what's going on in this world, right? and usually a story. That's the biggest thing, I guess, in this type of game, right? So.
Yeah, the story's awesome. It is very reminiscent of Farpoint. You're in a very similar situation to that. The world, probably a bit more like Returnal, and maybe even some of the gameplay. It's an exceptional game. I do have a bit of a issue with the combat, and obviously it's just from the mod itself. It's not from the game. And that is the aiming with the firearms. I don't know if you had the same issue I had, Roots, but the gun doesn't fire where the reticle is at. Did you experience that?
I didn't notice that, but I mean, I think you could solve that, and there is a possibility that the mod will let you do this because it's pretty easy if it's able to do it. But attaching it to your head, the reticle, I know a lot of people don't like that. I mean, you're already aiming with a joystick anyway because this is a joystick game, but just being able to move your head around and aim down the sights is amazing in VR.
That would be great. If I had that, then I would be just head over heels loving this game right now. But I had to go in and toggle on the aim assist to play because the aiming was so far off from where the reticle is.
You can adjust that to the reticle, and I haven't done it for this game, but I think I did it for Aliens VR. And just going through the menu, there's a way you can adjust where the reticle is and fine tune it. And the way I found out was I had gone into the Discord for the Flat2VR and was watching like a year's worth of conversation between our friend Alex VR and everybody in there just fine-tuning Aliens, and that was one of the things they were fine-tuning was the reticle, right? So there is a way to move that as well. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, and there's probably, I mean, there may even be a
community
profile, right?
Yeah.
I haven't even gotten into how to load profiles.
It's pretty easy, actually. You download it, and then all you have to do is literally you don't even load it in. You download it and click onto it, and it puts it in there and close it out, and you're good to go. I think Tate Elliott had a good video on it, I believe. Somebody.
That's cool. Says it's good on this end.
All right, we're back. Well, people were saying Looper said looked like it was spinning. Yeah, and somebody else said but it's good now because I see it is good. So I don't know.
Cool. Anyway, the way the reticles are set on this, it's perfectly on from a left-right perspective. Like the centering is perfect on it, but the up-down is way off skew. So if I want to shoot something, I have to point the reticle like a third of the way down into the ground for it to properly target. So the gun doesn't shoot where the reticle appears.
That's weird. That might be somehow I don't know. Because I would know, like, if there was a little bit off, I might not have noticed. I would have noticed that. You know what I mean? I would have noticed that it was that off. And it makes me think to the time that I first started Hot Wheels Unleashed. And that short video I did for the channel, I mentioned it, and it's not even an issue. Somehow I changed the setting, didn't even know it. And I somehow was way off on my camera, and my car was way off to the side. And I thought I had to adjust it. And I thought that the mod did it, but it was something I did and didn't even know I did until using the mod later. I realized because he didn't have that problem. Everybody else didn't have that problem logging into that game. So
it's interesting. Well, I'll definitely look into it more because this is a pretty awesome game. So you start out, you're a scientist. There a mysterious kind of pyramid thing has appeared in the sky. People expect it. There's probably extraterrestrial of some sort. So we probe it. We decide to probe the flying pyramid in the sky. And when we do that, an explosion. Everything goes white. And then when your character comes to, you're on this alien planet. And I think that's kind of where the Farpoint vibes come from with this thing, Roots, because something very similar happens in Farpoint, and then you wake up on another planet, and you've got that same vibe here where you're looking around and there's just crazy alien world that you're on, and not only are you trying to figure out what happened, but you're trying to search down and find your crew.
Right. Yeah, and so that's where the adventure begins. And how amazing does this game look? The environments, right? Like I couldn't believe how beautiful it looked. How did it ran really good on your system? Because I always take for granted.
It ran pretty well. I did play it on my my Reverb G2, which is a bit more demanding, but it ran well. I did see a little bit of reprojection, but it was only at times. It wasn't constant, and it wasn't like super bad reprojection. It was just a little bit of kind of ghosting as I would turn. But besides that, it ran pretty smooth. I didn't have to adjust my settings or anything. I ran it on Ultra. The only settings that I tweaked was I went in and I turned the motion blur all the way off. But besides that, I left everything set to Ultra preset, and it ran just fine.
That's one of those things that should default to off. Like, I don't even know what motion blur is made for. Even flat, I don't understand it. Definitely in VR. It's like, why would you want it to not? I just don't like it. So I guess there's circumstances where it could be good, but yeah, absolutely turn that off for sure.
Yeah. But no, it ran well for me. I was actually quite happy with the simplicity of how easy it was to set up and get running. Like, you literally just start the game, you start the mod, you hook it, and you're off to the races. You inject. Did you run this in OpenVR or OpenXR, Roots?
I believe I ran it in OpenXR. I think. I know. So I try OpenXR first every time, and then every once in a while, certain games are like, I don't see the game. I don't know what you're talking about. And I say, okay, I'll use OpenVR, and then it lets me do it. But definitely better, for at least for the meta head quest. Now, I guess for you, did you play it in the G2, right? It'd probably be better for OpenVR. Yeah.
I used OpenXR with it, actually.
Oh, really?
It worked pretty well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, OpenXR is amazing. I was reading about Guy and his virtual desktop and many reasons why to still buy virtual desktop for PC, right? And I still think it's superior. He just keeps adding features, but I don't know. I think it even supports OpenXR better than Steam Link and that type of stuff.
Yeah, I know that there's some kind of documentation in the Unreal VR stuff that kind of tells you when OpenXR is appropriate and when OpenVR is appropriate. But there's so much documentation to read through. Like, I didn't do any of that. I just went in and played. And lucky for me, it worked pretty well, just going in and starting it up.
I don't know about the new games. I know the older games, at least in the games list, it would list on there, which one works better. If it didn't work with another, if it needed to have the injection, a VR thing removed. And then also, the biggest one is if you ever load up the game and it looks funky, the eye looks like blurred or just doesn't look right, you can change it to alternate eye, and you can change it to a couple different versions besides the main one, right?
So combat's pretty cool. It is primarily a shooter, although you do have melee attack. But it's a pretty standard traditional game type of shooter here, where you press your thumbstick to bring up a weapon wheel, and you unlock different types of weapons as you go. You can have an electricity gun, you have a fire gun, and you actually get your ammunition from nature. You find plants, matter, or other organic material to craft into ammo. Beyond that, there's a moderately sized skill tree in this, isn't there, Roots? Like there's actually some progression, the likes of which you don't typically see in a VR game.
Yeah, I didn't get too far into that as far as the skill tree, but it is definitely, like you said, a pretty moderate one. And there's just a lot of options in that. And what's funny is, like, for me, that like I said earlier, the story was taking more precedence that I didn't even like. All these things were extras, and you don't normally get most of these, even just the different types of bosses in most VR games. So I thought that it gives you a good variety that builds up over time, and it makes me want to play more. That's the biggest thing. And I was telling people in chat, it's on sale right now till the 21st on Steam for $7.99, I believe, US dollars.
$8. See, this is the beauty of the Unreal VR injector, is that a game like this, which is a mid-tier flat game, you bring this in the VR and it's like a top tier VR game, right? Because not only are the graphics and sound just absolutely beautiful, the spatial audio works, all that stuff's great, but then you have like a longer campaign than most VR games have, and you've got progression that most VR games don't have. You have weapon selection that most VR games don't have. You've got the story and the entire production that's far beyond what most VR games have. If this were an official VR game, Roots, this would be probably a $40 or $50 game. And in the world of traditional gaming, this is $8 on Steam, and nobody really gives a shit about it.
It's so crazy, right? And don't get, Wes has got a 3080 Ti, but he said he had everything on Ultra. So I would imagine if you, had a lesser card, you could easily kick stuff down a notch or two or three, specifically in shadows and lighting and textures, right? Still make the game look amazing. The assets are what's amazing. And
I had the feeling that I didn't try it, but I felt like if I wanted to stream it, that I could knock the settings down just a little bit and it would probably stream just fine. So yeah, it's not like super resource hungry to run this game.
Yeah, it's super. And these games are, the devs are starting to get a lot better with Unreal Engine. Some devs are better than others, obviously, but this one runs well.
Anyway, a big recommend here. Pick it up while it's cheap. Mindjive says it's also in a Humble Bundle and a Fanatical Bundle, so it might be worth checking out for a bit more to get a lot more games. So there you go.
Yeah. And Time to Play VR says, could this Flat2VR mod be damaging to actual VR game sales? This mod, I don't know if you're talking about the mod or the upcoming, what they're doing, and I would say no either way. These games already exist, especially for UEVR. They already exist. A lot of these games aren't selling anymore. This actually is good for developers. They're not hacking the game. You still got to own it. So people go out and rebuy all these games. It's like a resurgence. I guarantee there's no dev. Well, maybe most devs aren't out there saying, don't put my game in VR. But, even if you said, okay, is what this new company, the Flat2VR company, going to hurt VR sales? I hope so, in a sense. Not in general, but I said this before, and this sounds crass, but there's a lot of developers out there that shouldn't be making games, and they're hurting VR overall because their games kind of suck, and it kind of tarnishes things. And I think you're going to see a lot of the crap is just going to fall away because they won't be able to exist because the tide is rising, right? And so all the developers that are good, that know how to make games and aren't putting out a bunch of shit, they're going to still do well. The shitty ones are going to disappear, and good. That's a good thing.
So when Time to Play VR says, could this Flat2VR mod be damaging to actual VR game sales. If he's talking about Flat2VR Studios, all we're going to be putting out is actual VR games. So,
Right.
no,
Right.
by
Yeah.
definition.
You're bringing games into VR like legit. It's not a mod, right? Like the developers it's a way for them you're porting it over. So
Right. Support, exactly. Now, if you're talking about the Universal Unreal Injector, sure. I'm sure it is knocking some VR sales, but we have to keep it in perspective here, what we're talking about. When you're talking about Universal VR Injector, you're speaking specifically about PC VR. And to be honest, there's PC VR is a pretty dead scene. Occasionally, we'll get some cross-platform titles on SteamVR, but it's not like Quest or even PlayStation VR in terms of the types of releases that it gets. So those people, the PC community, they need games to play, and they're a lot less likely to play garbage stuff anyway. So it's good. It's a good thing that those players have some high quality experiences to experience in their expensive headsets.
right. And again, in the future, in that documentary, you can show this clip right here of Ruuts saying, "This is how it's all. It's needed. This is the step that needs to be made. You'll be thanking this whole thing. And maybe it hurts sales in a way for a little bit in some ways, like Wes just said. But down the road, when we're all playing AAA games in VR that are legit, it's going to be worth it, right? So
Yeah, and another way of looking at it too is it the mod that's actually hurting VR game sales, or is it the quality level of the VR games?
Absolutely.
Because obviously games like this can work in VR because they are working in VR. So if VR devs are afraid that they can't compete with games like this, well, then they just need to make better games. Right.
Or get out of the way and let somebody else do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, the wheat's the chaff is gonna fall off. It's gonna from the wheat. So it's a good time.
Rome Colossus asks, isn't this for Quest and PSVR though? If you're talking about this mod, no. Now, if you're talking about Flat2VR Studios, then we're studio like any other studio. We will develop for any platform. But if you're talking about these mods, which is what I thought we were talking about, the mods are PC only.
Right.
Brandon says, if you need an adult VR game tester, then I'm your guy. Impact Labs, bro. We anybody can be a lab tester for us. All you gotta do is put in the application, bro.
Ironically, after CruCast a couple weeks ago, we were after we were done with the show, we were talking about this topic, right? And like most podcasts, how do you talk about it on a podcast? You could, but it's weird. It's weird. So yeah, maybe you should be do the research, Brandon, and put it on your channel, and you'll be the only one talking about it. And either it'll be successful or you'll be creepy as fuck. So it's one of the two. So it'll be cool.
Down to Play VR says, thanks for answering my question, guys. Don't tell Brian I said this, but you're my favorite channel. Your secret's safe. Secret's safe with us. We don't want it to get out there that we're actually really good. So like we don't want to be big.
We're the best kept secret in VR, remember?
That's right.
Still.
We'll keep our own secrets. Chrome Colossus says he was talking about Flat2VR Studios. He was
okay.
He dozed off for a minute and was asking outside the context of our conversation.
Yeah. So
anyway, the moral of the story is that I have officially now begun my Unreal Universal VR Injector era. We've now officially covered our first game in it, and I'm happy to report that it was super easy to do, and it ran very well.
I can't wait till we can race Hot Wheels Unleashed. It's so good.
Now the problem is, Ruuts, is that the problem we had before where we didn't have time to play all the VR games, now that just got 100 times worse because now we've got all these flat games that we can play in VR, and I still want to just play more of this. So, like, what do we do?
Yeah, that's the problem, right? You get into a game and you're like, this is amazing. And then you get into another game and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing too. Then you see fucking Void Citizen. Every time I turn around, he's posting like a new amazing looking game, which is awesome, in the Discord. And I'm like, oh, dude, there's another one. I don't know how many games I've literally bought after his posts of seeing the gameplay or what he has to say about it, right? So I've bought more games in the last month and a half to 2 months than I have in 2 years, and they've all been these games to play in here. So
Steam Summer Sale, that's a good point. Substatica, you could probably pick up quite a few great Unreal titles right now to play in VR for on the cheap.
Is it summer already?
We're getting there.
God.
Like, it's the spring sale, isn't it? It's not the summer sale.
Well, I thought maybe he said spring. Did he say spring, or you just said it? Our summer. But I'll tell you what, we our snow's mostly melted. Yeah, we had 2 feet, and it's like almost gone already. That's why
it's been hot here all week.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, summertime. It's coming.
Chinatown D says, you and I need to play Returnal in the UEVR mod, Wes. Yes, I've actually have tried that one. So I actually had the mod like before it launched, and that was the thing that I played in it, like, was Returnal. So I have tried that. Returnal's great. And back then it was before they had added in the first person. So now you can play it in first person, which I did. I demoed for a short time on the CES floor, and it was pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, it's cool. For sure. And I think they even have the first person mode has where you can shoot with the gun. You can aim and stuff.
Mickey Barrios asks, how can we tell if a game is made with the Unreal Engine? There's a few different ways. There is a website called steamdb.com. It's the Steam database. If you look up a title on the Steam database website, you will scroll down and it'll tell you what game engine it's developed in. Another thing you can do, if you're planning on getting into this heavily and searching a lot of games, there's a tool from Rykoparta, the modder Rykoparta. There's a tool called RyTool, and RyTool will tell you if a game is Unreal or not, actually.
I get so sad when I see new games coming out, because I scroll through Steam and I'm looking at all the new games as they come out. I'm like, ooh, the new Battlefront, which I guess turned out to be shit. I wonder if that's going to be Unreal Engine. And then I look for it and I'm like, they're using a proprietary bullshit one, right? It'll be a nice day when we can just have the universal VR mod. It just takes them all and puts anyone in. It's probably coming, maybe.
It's called RyPal. The name of the tool is RyPal, and Looper says it's the best way, and most people do say that it is the best way.
What about the Google? Type in Google what engine, and that's not the best way. Sometimes you find it, sometimes you don't. So I'm going to use RyPal from now
on. Time to Play says, is anyone working on a Unity to VR mod? Well, that's what RyPal app originally started out to be intended for. And he made that open source, I think, so if people wanted to pick up and continue work on it, they can. So I'm sure someone's working on it. I don't think Rye is any longer because he's got bigger fish to fry and other things to do. But I'm sure someone is working on something similar after they've seen the success of the Unreal injector.
Subtastica says that tool only shows games you own. So I guess you'd have to go to SteamDB and
there you go.
Wes said for the rest, if you don't own it, that'd probably be where I'd go anyway.
Yeah, it's easy enough to find out. You just have to put a minute into to searching, basically.
Oh, it says Subtastica says there's someone in the Flat2VR Discord actually working on a Unity mod right now. This second, he's out there playing it away.
Nice.
Thank you, sir.
That's good news. That would bring the vast majority of the games that aren't already compatible into VR. So it'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, because here's the thing: as good as Unreal Engine is, it's not as easy to get stable for a lot of developers. They're scared of it, and so they won't go to it. And a lot of people playing games, and I read forums and stuff, when they say it's not Unreal, it's 50-50. Some, people are either really happy or really.
Tatum has a good point. He says you can just go to the UEVR spreadsheet. So they do keep a spreadsheet of all the games that they've tested, and there have been quite a lot of them. It's good if you can find your game on there because it will tell you how well it actually works with the mod. Now, obviously, newer games aren't going to be on there immediately, and they didn't obviously test every game, so it's not 100% foolproof. But if you can find a game on that spreadsheet, that's the best, because then you can actually see how well the mod works on it.
Right, and there's other things, like I said, it tells you which way to the best. If it's the 3D mode is best eye version or alternate eye or whatever. If there's issues with the mod running, and it tells you some of them, it'll tell you it didn't work well. Well, if it says that, don't think you're going to go in there and it's going to work, because I know that a lot of the people that went in there had really good like 4090s. And so if it didn't work for them, and Wes, I found out the hard way. I'm like, I'm going to go in there. It's going to work good for me. I got a good rig. Look at my rig. And then it still ran like shit. So
that's why we got to get that 5090 out, man.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the 5090. They say it's going to be amazing.
I'm sure it will. They always are. Anyway, Scars Above, check it out. It's pretty awesome. Unreal Universal VR Injector, also pretty awesome.
Yeah, if you don't have that,
that's not always...
what are you doing?
Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah, come on, man.
Come on, man.
Anyway, we played some actual real VR games this week, too. And one of them I've been looking forward to for quite some time.
In 1982, Atari produced a secret prototype arcade machine known as Akka Arrh. 40 years later, it was adapted to modern technology devices, known as personal computers. Today, Akka Arrh is coming into your mind. Command the center.
Got it.
And defend the universe.
Got it.
In pure arcade mode.
Akka Arrh. I think that's how it's pronounced. Akka Arrh came to the PlayStation VR2 platform this past week. This, of course, is the latest title from Jeff Minter and Llamasoft. Launched on flat platforms around a year ago. And as we have seen in the past, Mr. Minter bringing his creations into the Sony PlayStation VR platform. As you know, Roots, I'm a fan. I've been a fan of Mr. Minter's ever since I played Polybius on PSVR 1. I've been a huge fan. And ever so often since Polybius, Mr. Minter will put out another VR-supported game, but none of them ever really quite lived up to Polybius. Cool as they may be, the releases that came out after Polybius were a bit less produced, a bit rougher around the edges, and really seemed a lot more like an older arcade style game from the early 80s. But I'm happy to say with Akka Arrh Roots, we have returned to that production level, that quality level that Polybius had going on. And it shows from the minute that you get in the headset. The only problem is it's a very different game than Polybius. And I don't know about you, but I didn't find it to be the easiest game to just pick up and play.
I didn't know what the fuck was going on at first. I was in the tutorial and it was telling me to shoot the enemies, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't see any enemies, right? Like, it was very bizarre. But you know what's cool about this game is the longer you play it, the more you discover in it. And like even just the simple thing of when you figure out, like, you see all these ripples and stuff. Like, it's so cool how, like, you can, if you hit one, like it rewards you for being kind of like changing up how you shoot, right? Like if you hit one, it'll ripple and you can chain react, which is great. But you have the ripples every time it hits one, it increases in score. So like, I guess if you're chasing the leaderboard, right, that would be really good for someone like you. But like, there's just, I don't know. I found that it was addictive, like every other Jeff Minter game I played. Once I got into figuring out what's going on, it became a one more level, and I ended up spending way more time in this game than I intended to, for sure.
Yeah. So I picked this game up. Obviously, I had it a little bit before it launched, and I played it initially for about 45 minutes, and I didn't understand how to play. And as cool looking as it was, I really didn't enjoy it. Like I found it to be pretty frustrating, to be honest. Come on in, dog. It's your show. I found it pretty frustrating, to be honest, and then I put it back down. I'm glad that we chose not to cover it last week, Ruuts, because I went back into it this week and I started completely over from the beginning. Only this time it clicked. I kind of got what they were going for on my second trip through the tutorial, and after I understood how to play, then it became obvious to me what a nuanced game this is. It's not as straightforward as it might seem. This game is all about stringing together kills, explosions, and these waves that you're seeing wash over the board, those are shock waves from explosions. And when certain enemies find themselves in that shock wave, they explode and create a new shock wave. So you get bonuses for casting less bombs, right? If you can throw one bomb and start a chain reaction that just keeps rolling and rolling, it will increase your scoring exponentially. It will also help you to save bullets, because every explosion you get gives you another bullet to shoot. And the bullets tie into your health, because if you finish a level with so many extra bullets, they give you a health bonus for it. So everything kind of ties in to one another with the way the game is played and the way it's scored. And it makes it more strategic than you would think a game like this would be.
Yeah, I agree. It's there's so much more to the nuance. Like, and then just when you think you're getting comfortable, then they'll introduce stuff on the inside.
Right.
So to see everything's going on around your ship, there'll be like something on in the circle in the middle that you have to protect. And so now you've got to like hit your trigger when you see something and you teleport in there and start fighting the shit on there. It just adds, it's just like everything else. It adds an extra, this whole thing is so much going on. It's not like a crazy amount, at least not in the earlier levels, but it gets crazier as you go. But it's definitely so much so that when you're adding on top of everything else, that extra layer, and then the particles, Wes, like this visually looks so amazing. The 3D in this was just like some of the best 3D I've seen. Everything flying around the screen, all these things that looks like you traveling through space. It just looks so good in the headset. And then the colors of the PlayStation VR 2, this game is definitely made for that headset. So
Yeah, when you play a game like this in PlayStation VR headset, it makes it hard to believe that this game was ever intended to be anything other than a VR game. Like
Right.
it fits so perfectly with all of the particle effects and the depth. So what Roots was talking about is the game actually takes place on two levels. So what you're looking at here is the surface level where you're defending against all of these incoming enemies. But sometimes they get past you. And when they get past you, they go down into the internal level, which is where your health is stored at, and they try to steal your health away. So you're constantly bouncing back and forth between the surface level and the inside level. And the 3D effect really helps kind of drive that home. But even beyond that, like any great mentor game, as you get deeper into it and they introduce new types of enemies, the visuals and audio really pick up in intensity as well. So, again, like Polybius, what on the surface seems like a straightforward shooter is actually more of a concentration game, right? They're giving you audio visual overload, and you have to train yourself, train your eye to see through all of that and pick up on the cues that you need to properly defend yourself. The further you get, the more intense it gets, and the harder it is to kind of block out all the noise and concentrate on what you need to really be seeing. That's my favorite element of Jeff Minter Games Roots, is just that whole element of trying to focus and see past all of the shiny 3D effects to pay attention to the things that can actually hurt you.
yeah, and this is on the next level because there's so much going on and so many things from every direction. It gets really crazy, but I have said this before. It's being able to control the uncontrollable is the feeling you get when you get into a game like this. Like things that it's going so crazy and you don't know how the fuck you're not dead. You're like, how am I not dead? And you're still going. You pass a level and you're like, you shock yourself even. I love these type of games, and once you get past that hurdle, like you said, of trying to figure out what the hell's going on, you realize, and even just watching this video, like it looks basic, right? You think, okay, you're just a ship spinning around. It's not. It's like there's so much more going on, and especially in the headset, this is one of those examples where this video could never, ever be fair to what it looks like in the headset, because just the particles and the 3D effects and all the colors, and it's a very trippy thing. It's super cool.
It's crazy, man. It's absolutely insane. And obviously, I love it. And it's still too early for me to tell, if this is on the level of Polybius, but it certainly at this point seems like it could be. Like this could be a game that's on that level or even better. I'm not even halfway through it yet, so I can't make that call. But so much of what I love about Polybius is present in this game, and I absolutely love it. This game is a trip. This game would be great for VR veterans or newcomers alike. It runs at a smooth 120 hertz native on it. It's super colorful. The music's awesome. The sound effects are crazy and incredible. I just can't say enough good things about this title. I highly recommend it to anyone who has a PlayStation VR 2.
Yeah. And if you're listening out there, Jeff Minter, I'd like to play it on other consoles, I guess other hardware, right? My PC and other stuff, but I don't know if that's ever...
it might be available on PC as a flat game. I just don't know if the VR support's ever going to come over. Polybius eventually did.
True.
As did Moose Life. They all eventually came over. Never went to Quest. I always thought it was interesting that these games never came to Quest, because Quest could totally run them, right?
Easy.
Like Quest could run Polybius. Weird that it never came over.
Yeah, look how popular Tetris Effect has been on Quest, right? You'd think it would do well. So,
yeah. But again, we're talking about a small dev team, and I don't know if he has a philosophical problem with developing for Quest, or
We
if he
all
just
do.
doesn't have the time.
We all have a philosophical problem with those fuckers, man. It's just like, can we get past that is the problem. You know, like if somebody screwed me personally, then it's harder to do it. So I can't fault any dev if they have issues, you know, like they just, meta sucks.
LeVR said, oops, hadn't hit the like button yet. Yeah, what are we doing, folks? Hit that like button. If you like the stream, tell the algorithm that you like the stream.
Yeah, this is what most people don't realize when it comes to live streams too. Like if you hit it up front, it tells more people while you're live, hey, recommend it. And then you get like, people are like, hey, what the fuck is this? Oh, virtual strangers. I don't know what this is. Hey, what's that guy with the beard? And it just goes on from there. So,
you know who loves it when you hit it up front, Roots?
My mom!
She does. She loves it a lot.
Anyway, this game is amazing. It seems to be on par with Polybius in terms of quality and just overall madness level. And this is a game that I will be returning to and trying to push myself up the leaderboard because I love it. It's so fun. And this is the title that I wanted Moose Life to be, or Minotaur Arcade. We finally have it thanks to Llamasoft and Atari.
This is more of a game, kind of like Polybius, right? I thought Moose Life and stuff, it was cool the way that you did it. But this, I feel like I'm the ship, become the ship.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Be the ball.
Yeah.
Tony Savino says, hey, am I the only one that likes Forever Pool and Bowling? No, you're not. Honestly, most people that played those games liked them. They didn't review the best from the Without Parole guys on PlayStation VR 2, and I have not tried them on PSVR 2. But those are good games on Quest, and I can't imagine that they would be bad on PlayStation.
Yeah, I thought Forever Bowl was cool, like with the all the different bowling balls, and I mean, it just played well.
Yeah.
So I don't think I played that much of the pool, but
yeah, I haven't talked to the guys about the Forever games on PlayStation, but I know that they're not super high on them, and I always thought that was kind of weird because, in my experience, those are pretty decent games.
yeah, I think ironically, and maybe not ironically, because the PlayStation platform is so good now, but it's like games like that, it really literally says it'd be like if you were on your Wii Fit and you were playing Wii bowling, and you're like, I'm going to put this game in VR. It's pretty much what it is, right? It's kind of what Walkabout Mini Golf, the same type of graphics. It's more about the gameplay, right? And so, like, some people can be underwhelmed with those aesthetics, right? So,
right. Okay. Anyway, that's our impressions, folks. And with that, we're going to move on to the week's reminders. And as usual, we're going to start with what's out this week. And as we take a look at the XR update release calendar, I think you need to refresh that, bro. That has been updated.
Oh wow! Since I've done
quite
my,
a lot. Yeah, that's an old one. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just whatever I pulled up here. Let's see. Oh,
there
yeah.
you go.
There we go.
Quite a lot coming out this week, eh? As has been the case for the last couple of weeks. Obviously, we have Twilight Zone VR. We've got Strayed VR. HappyFunLand we already talked about. But let's just kind of go down the line here of the notable releases, and let's start with a trip into the Twilight Zone.
Hey! Over here! Follow my voice! Okay, if you can hear me, pick up the radio. You gotta hurry! Come on! This way!
Everything you deserve this Christmas.
The Twilight Zone VR Enhanced Edition comes to PSVR 2 this week. And I had an opportunity today to play the Twilight Zone VR Enhanced Edition, Ruuts. And, it's interesting. We played this game on launch, and that's been some time ago. And I remember bits and pieces, right? I remember that we reviewed it favorably, that we enjoyed our time in it. I remember that it wasn't because of the gameplay. I remember saying that this isn't much in terms of gameplay, that it's not about that. But I couldn't quite remember why we liked it until I got back in there again today. And it's all about that feeling of being in the Twilight Zone. You have 3 individual episodes here that you play through. There is gameplay, and it's not terrible gameplay. It's just kind of basic. But they do some things here that we don't see in other games. They use the technology in interesting ways, and they tell a story. And what I think is cool, one of the many things I think is cool about the stories that they're telling here, is the way that they all kind of tie into one another. It's in not so obvious ways. You have to be paying attention to everything that you see and everything that you hear and read. But there are Easter eggs in every episode that tie into the kind of backstory from the others, which is really awesome.
That is awesome. And just having a little bit more backstory on anything like this is great to immerse you more. Somebody said that they're a big fan of Twilight Zone, but people are saying the game sucks. Didn't we already stream it? Which we did. We streamed it and played it on Quest, correct? Right? It was a Quest. Was it a Quest only game?
Yeah, we covered it on Quest. It was Quest only and is Quest only until this PSVR version comes out.
So what? Tell me about the enhanced. This is the enhanced edition. So what's enhanced about it? Like, I'm assuming the graphics, right? How better does that look?
Yeah, it's mainly graphical, not only graphics, but mainly. And don't get me wrong, it's not like the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Enhanced Edition, where it's just like night and day better than it was on Quest. It's marginally better looking. There's better lighting. There's some new character models in it, some new assets in it that are more detailed. Overall, it looks a little bit better. There are still, though, some low-res textures in the game. It's still using the same kind of level geometry that it had used before, so it still kind of has that blockiness to it that Quest games have. But it is definitely noticeably enhanced, and there are certain areas in the game where it seems like it's quite a bit enhanced. Other than that, they make some good use of the haptics, both in the controllers and in the headset, and they do make use of the adaptive triggers as well. So a pretty standard PSVR 2 upgrade here with some pretty cool new features that are all kind of working to increase your immersion in the Twilight Zone.
Okay, well, that's good. I guess it's safe to assume that they didn't re-break their game to use foveated rendering from a Quest game that came over, right? Who knows what that would be like, or how much of a pain in the ass that would be. But
yeah, I don't think they're using the foveated rendering here because, again, it's not like the most complex thing graphically that you've ever seen, and it does reproject from time to time. There's definitely some reprojection being used here, and I got to imagine if they were using the foveated rendering that probably wouldn't be there, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, hopefully, like I said, I guess it's not even hopefully, as we just distance ourselves with time, that's just discussion's gonna not even be an issue, right? It's just over the next year or two, these games that were developed for the last 3 or 4 years that probably are just too much of a pain in the ass to switch over. So
So Kramer says, so it's more of an experience than a game. I'd say yeah. Now it is a game. It's technically a game. You can die in it. There are gameplay elements. There's a stealth level. There's a shooting level. There's kind of a puzzle like level. But again, it's not about the gameplay. If you're going in this expecting it to be a super fun game to play, then you're probably going to be disappointed. It's all about the experience. So while it is a game, it's all about the experience. It's about being in these episodes. It's about the story. It's about being in the Twilight Zone.
Right.
That's what makes it cool. So don't go into it expecting like an awesome display of VR gameplay. That's not what you're going to find here. You're going to find some cool, surreal scenarios that you're making your way through. I do recommend it. It's not going to be anybody's game of the year, but I definitely do recommend it, especially if you're a fan of thrillers, and if you're a fan of the Twilight Zone specifically, you'll probably like it.
Yeah. Now, what's the cost on it? Do you know?
I'm not sure what it's going to cost on PlayStation. I want to say it was. I don't know. I shouldn't say if I don't know. Let me check. I'll see how much it is on the Quest store. And maybe it'll be priced similarly. It's $20 on the Quest store. And I'd say that's a good price on it. I wouldn't pay any more than that for it, but $20 is a fair price for it.
You say 20?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's real fair. It's actually several hours of gameplay, or experience play, or game and experience play. Yeah, I agree.
You'll be able to play through it in about 2 to 3 hours. I'd say it's 3 episodes, and depending on how much you like to take your time and really digest the scenarios, or versus just run your way through them. 2 to 3 hours, I'd say, on average, probably.
Looper the Underground Gamecast said, did they fix the frame rate issues that made Brian puke for 2 days? Is that on this game, or was that a different game?
I would imagine he's talking about this one, but I didn't experience any frame rate issues other than, like I said, there's some pretty obvious reprojection, but I didn't feel uncomfortable in this game at all. But I played it today. Like Brian probably played it last week.
Right.
I played it today. Flip Nugget says, Brian reckons this game screwed him right up. He probably just was having a bad day where he was sick. I can't imagine that this game was so bad that it made him sick. That doesn't sound right to me.
Hey, well, he didn't. Tony Zavino wants to know how you didn't get sick and Brian did. Well, right there. Maybe Brian had something that was already kind of not sitting well on his stomach. Because you have to figure, all of us, we spend so much time in VR that it takes a lot. Although, like for me, that the biggest thing is if the frame rate is really fluctuating or just dropping to a certain point, I'll just start to feel a little weird. And I know, and I'm like, okay, something was weird, and I'll look, and oh yeah, sure enough, some people will push through it, and then they get sick, and so.
I don't know, man. I didn't get sick. I felt fine. I played it over an hour today, and no problems whatsoever. So, with regard to comfort, that is, I had no problems.
Well, like you said, it's been a week, so I'm sure there's been a patch since.
Yeah, probably. Anyways, no, it's pretty cool. It's not going to be for everyone, but again, there's a very specific type of person who's kind of into these sorts of things. If you like a nice suspenseful thriller, very story focused, and or if you're just like I said, if you're just a fan of the Twilight Zone in general, then you'll probably like it. If you're an action guy who needs to constantly be fighting your way through a zombie horde or through aliens and shit, probably not going to be your thing.
Yeah, you might. Well, I guess you could be running away from in the first chapter, right? And you more of a hide and seek thing, right? So
Yeah. There's the first chapter is a stealth chapter. The second chapter is like a shooter, and then the third one, it's kind of like a walking sim, but you have to find your way through it. It's like it's almost like being in a dream. Like these aliens come down and take over the Earth, and after that, everything's kind of like a dream state for you. So you have to find your way out. So it's like a maze. But that's one of the cooler scenes in the game is when the alien ships come down and you can see them in the sky. It's really quite surreal.
Natty, what's up? Says, good evening, folks. Hope everyone's good. Side note, I just got off from playing Legendary Tales for the first time. 4 hours later, I can finally be happy about my headset again. Yeah, I'm hearing that a lot from a lot of people.
People loving Legendary Tales, man. It's so good now.
I played it before a long time ago. Wes is like, dude, you have not played it. It's fucking changed. We need to get in there. Me, you, and Mash, old school style. I'm
down, bro. Anytime.
Maybe when Mash gets back from jet setting all over the world.
Yeah. Jump scares. Substatica wants to know if there's jump scares. There's a couple. There's not a lot, but there are a few jump scares in it for sure. Anyway, moving along. This next one also coming to PSVR 2 this week, and pleasant surprise. I wasn't expecting it, but here it is once again.
Let the chocolate fly! Now I have the power of the mighty chocolate! Captain ToonHead! Fighting for his Captain ToonHead! Captain ToonHead!
Private Salazar, you have been promoted to captain of this mission.
How did this get here?
I weaponized your grandmother's chunk cloud.
That's a freaking shark! How's that even possible?
There is a madman that we need to stop.
Why so defensive?
I'm going to stop you all by myself.
Right! Oh, please don't forsake us, Angel.
You can call me Captain ToonHead.
Captain ToonHead! Available now! Yeah! Available now! Are you still here? Go buy the game! This is it! We spent all our marketing budget!
Wait, I'm still getting paid for this, right? It's a lot of yelling, you know? It's a lot of screaming.
Captain ToonHead versus the Punks from Outer Space, coming to PlayStation VR 2 this week, Ruuts. We played this game a long time ago. I think it's out on Quest and PC VR. And quite honestly, one of my favorite tower defense games I've ever played in VR.
Yeah.
This one's blends tower defense with first-person shooter and does it in a very unique, colorful way. And it's really just a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I was reminded watching that trailer just how crazy this game is, right? People are saying tower defense, you know, yeah, it's a tower defense game. You know, this is the thing. Not everybody's into tower defense games or RPGs or whatever the genre, shooters. Yeah, but if you like tower defense games, this is one of the best ones out there. It's very unique, very cool, very colorful. I would imagine on the PlayStation VR 2, it looks amazing. And you know, I'm not the biggest tower defense person, but I had fun in my in my time in this game. So
Yeah, same here. I don't typically. Well, before VR, I never played tower defense. I really didn't like it at all. Now, I have tried a few in VR that I really like, but like I said, leading in, this is among the very best. It's very unique in the way that the gameplay is handled, and where you do have to kind of build up your defenses in between waves. But when the wave starts, you're on the ground, you're shooting from a first-person perspective, and it makes the gameplay way more fun that way. Not only that, Roots, but since we've played this, they've added a whole new game mode into it that is just a standard roguelike wave shooter. So all these roguelike wave shooters that we've gotten over the years, there's actually one built into this game now.
Oh, fuck, man. That's a reason to go back to it, because I really am not the biggest tower defense person, but I really liked everything about this game, you know, so I might have to go check that out. That sounds cool.
Yeah, I think so. And that's what I was thinking to myself before the game, is we're going to have to get in contact with our friends at TerraVision Games and get a key or two for this, because I think it's time to go back.
Yeah, I'd like to see what it looks like in the OLED. So
yeah, absolutely. But that is not the star of the show this week, Roots. There can only be one star of the show, and I'm pretty certain that this next one is going to take the trophy this week. Max Mustard dropping on the MetaQuest platform this week. Roots, hype all the way to the moon for this title. It has been ever since it was revealed all those months ago. And rightfully so. The more I see of this game, the more I see why people are so excited for it. You know, classic platformers in VR is an underserved genre. And it's a genre where we've really only had one really great one in all of the catalog. And we've had some other very good ones, you know, like Vin's VR Adventure and Lucky's Tales. But really, there's always been Astrobot and then everyone else. But when I see gameplay of Max Mustard, Roots, I see a lot of Astrobot in this game. And I think that's something to get excited about.
Yeah, Super Nintendo Chalmers says they ripped off Astrobot. Well, this is the thing. This is the truth. Astrobot was the very first platformer of that nature. And so, like, everything else has copied Astrobot. Or Astrobot also took inspiration from a lot of other games as well.
Mario, yeah.
Yeah, isn't that kind of what happens? I think this one actually looks unique. It does have its aspects, like you said, that look like, or like they said, that look like Astrobot, but I think it looks more unique in different ways. I don't know, man. I've literally been playing more of that Crash Bandicoot and that type of game. I'm getting ready to go in soon with D. And I don't know, maybe if you have you and Michelle, well, I don't know if Michelle would play it with the UEVR mod or if she'd be able to, but you can play the Little Big Planet. It's up to the one that came onto PC in the UEVR mod. It's up to 4 people co-op, and we're gonna play through the entire campaign.
Talking about Sackboy?
Yeah, Sackboy, and I think it's amazing.
I'm down for that. I'm down for that for sure. And we've got enough headsets and PCs in here that, I mean, we could do it.
Yeah, because I've been putting it off, and I don't, D's been getting impatient, and I think this is the reason why. I didn't know why I was putting it off. The biggest thing was I wanted to have the computer to run it and play it in VR. Now we can do that, and I think it'd be awesome to play a 4-player co-op of that nature. It's good. These type of games, like I was saying, Crash Bandicoot 4 is phenomenal. I've played it. It's so much fun, and it's reminded me why I love platformers, traditional platformers. But Max Mustard, it looks like it's doing everything that a traditional platformer did or does, but it's also doing what Astrobot does. It's giving you things to do, and you got a gun, and you're helping as well. To be honest, I kind of feel like it does a little bit more than what Astrobot does. Astrobot, you smash something with your head, or you hook something with your controller. Maybe you spray some water. That's about it, So
I don't know. I know that when I look at this Max Mustard footage, I see variety. I see variety in gameplay. I see variety in level design and enemies. It looks like a big budget production, which is pretty incredible because this is coming from the team that brought us Richie's Plank Adventure. That's Plank Experience. That's who this game is coming from. It's coming from Toast Interactive. So this is a bit of a departure from anything else they've ever put out, and it looks incredible. It looks great. So yeah, very much looking forward to playing this one when it launches this week.
And let me ask you this. So since people are gushing on Astrobot, let me trash it a little bit more now because it's an amazing game. But does this game not look more like an actual platformer than Astrobot? Because Astrobot, somebody said, Silver Nexus says it's like a game you're supposed to model other games around, showing off features cute and fun. Astrobot is. Right? It's like the gameplay was in a lot of ways very simplistic. That's why we loved Ven so much, because it was actually more like a harder. There was more to it, And I'm not saying Astrobot's not amazing, and I'm looking forward to the sequel. I just felt like they played it safe in a lot of ways because it was the first platformer, right? I love the fact that in Ven VR you're looking way up and you're trying to get your guy to control, at least in the OG version. Very weird camera angles. The same thing that Brian couldn't stand, I loved. It showcased VR in a different way, right? You can't play that platformer that way where you're trying to see what something's doing so far away. That's definitely a unique thing. So
anyway, a great week for releases. HappyFunLand, Twilight Zone, Max Mustard, Captain ToonHead. Just another what's that, 3 weeks in a row now we've got awesome releases dropping, and it's not about to let up anytime soon.
Exciting times
indeed. Let's take a look at some viewer comments. Parasite 82 says, really good show, guys. I even enjoyed hearing the extra info from the Into the Radius 2 dev diaries, and I had no idea about the Cthulhu game either was being given a VR mode. Nice. Yeah, we did an hour, Ruuts. I don't know if you went back and looked. We did an hour on Into the Radius 2 last week.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, it deserves it. The first game was so good, so much time and effort put into it. These developers deserve that time, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I thought it was a good segment. As did Scion VR, who left comments. First of all, he said, in the first game, I would just throw my guns into the repair locker and spend a tiny amount of cash to avoid the tedious cleaning, which is exactly what I did as well. You don't have to do all that cleaning crap if you're willing to pay just a little bit of money to not do it.
That's not immersive. I'm just kidding. I'm with you, man. Whatever's easier and less time consuming. Because I'm sure there's a time you can't afford it and you have to do it. So you appreciate it, right? So
Right. Scion also says, I like the black dimensional enemies too. They were very creepy. And I think that's a very offensive thing to say. It upsets me greatly. And I think that you should be deplatformed for saying it.
Yeah, I think that new company that formed I was talking about is going to have something to say about that. Make sure it doesn't get it. Maybe make sure it doesn't get the next one.
In all seriousness, though, I agree, Scion. I thought that the black interdimensional enemies from Into the Radius were terrifying, and it's one of the few things that I'm actually a little bit worried about with the sequel. Is that they're changing the enemies so drastically. What if they suck? What if they're not scary at all? I mean, that certainly could happen. And that would be terrible because they're essentially trying to fix something, Roots, that isn't broken.
Yeah, I think they'll do a good job. But here's the thing that makes me happy and doesn't worry me about it. If it's a big enough problem, they'll fix it. The devs will be constantly working on this game like they did the first game.
Right.
If you can go by, their history. And I've used this example before, and it's perfect. Segue into the next comment with Gambit, right? Like we sold Gambit as, hey, like, look at what they did with Zero Caliber 1. Look at how much they care and time they put into that game. You should get Gambit. We put our seal of approval on it. And then they fucking dropped the ball.
Yep. Yeah, Simon says VR says I love Zero Caliber, both on PC and then later on standalone. Gambit was an instant refund for me. It's so clear that they've abandoned the project and they just won't admit it. Going radio silent is not a good thing. I really hope Zero Caliber 2 is going to deliver because I spent a lot of time with their first game. It's also clear that they shifted gears as soon as Gambit flopped. Because not long after the Gambit release, we saw a lot of updates to their older Zero Caliber game. Zombies, mods, etc. just out of the blue. Yeah, I noticed that as well, too. As soon as Gambit dropped and people started complaining about all the things that were wrong with it, the very next thing that we heard, and it didn't take very long, was that all of these cool updates were coming to Zero Caliber.
Yeah, because why fix the game you just fucking dropped that isn't working,
Right. Right.
This is the thing, that the problem I have with your comment, Simon Savior, not with you, and not even really with the comment, but just in general with the mindset. Like, why are we even talking about getting the game the next game that these developers trashed? They fucked us on the last game, and now we're supposed to get excited about the sequel because of the first one. I kind of almost wish this was a one and done. Like, bro, you messed up. You screwed everybody, and you went on, and you made a mistake. And this could cost them their complete company. And I really don't wish that your company goes under. But at the same time, it's like, as a consumer, how do I get excited about the next game if I felt the developer dropped the ball as soon as that comment that he said? Once the Gambit released and they saw that it flopped, they dropped it. Well, what if I buy Zero Caliber 2 and it doesn't do well? Are they going to drop it too? Like, we have to think that way. People have to think that way, and they have to use their dollar. This is the only way we change things. If we just keep accepting it and we say, let's just get the next one, these developers will do it again. I guarantee you. If the same opportunity is positioned, right? Because why wouldn't they? It worked last time. This kind of stuff kind of pisses me off.
Yeah, me too. When they just ignore it and act like it doesn't even exist, they don't make any comment on it. They just act like it's something that's not even there.
Yeah, it just hurts everybody in the long run. Gaming in general, because we're very, at least I am, I'm very jaded, and a lot of times with developers, I'm like, are they going to screw me? And so I can only go by, and I guess with any company, by their past, how they've treated me or what I've done. And as soon as I start to see it go south, I might give them another chance, but they'll get one. They do it again, I'm done. That's it, man. So
El Diego VR says I'd 100% pay another $1 to see that Stormland stream. Never played it, but damn, I don't know why. It looks awesome. Great show.
Awesome. It is awesome.
It is awesome, and I almost suggested that that's what we played on this past Saturday. Even though we didn't end up in there, we ended up in Arizona Sunshine instead. But I would say this stream is probably going to happen, Ruuts. What do you think?
I think so too. Because I want to play through it again, and I'd love to do it on the new hardware. And you know, I mean, when I played it, it looked good, but I did have to scale back some things to get it to run really well. And so I won't have to do that this time. Just kick it balls to the wall.
So here's what we should do. We should both play through the first part of the game from scratch all over again so that we can get acclimated with it. But then we should stop at around a similar point so that we can kind of get together and then finish the game out in co-op.
I agree. We could even record our lead up to it, right?
Right. Well, that's part of why I think we need to play the beginning separate again, is so that we can kind of come to terms with the settings and what we need to run it on Quest 3, and you know, how well is that going to stream/record. Get all that dialed in so that we're not trying to figure it out on the live stream.
Yeah, absolutely.
Main fan says, Ruuts, Assassin's Creed Flat never kept me interested, but I went all the way through Nexus in a few days. It's good, and it gets better the further that you get. I got to say, I agree with him here, man. Assassin's Creed Nexus, while there were some graphical shortcomings to the game, I thought it was a very good and fun game.
Yeah, and I don't know. I can't speak to what, like, I know you play mostly, almost exclusively VR games. So you're the scale of the games that you're choosing between is this versus this big. And and maybe Main Fan has all those other games that I played to choose from. And so that's my biggest thing that keeps me from going into some of these games. But I would use this as an example. Dee was talking about Ghost of Tsushima, right? And was saying how she wanted to get it on PC and how amazing it was. And I said, well, I have it on PlayStation. You can play it on that. I said, I didn't like it. I said, I got it, and I thought it was going to be amazing. I thought the story was kind of pretty cool. It looked cool. I said, but I didn't like the combat at all. Like, I just couldn't stand it. And so, like, there's certain types of games for certain people that type of gameplay is just a no bueno situation. And that's just kind of how I felt with that game. It just felt like a chore. Like, I don't like it. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so much of it. It's hard to explain.
I think, honestly, I think that type of game just isn't for you. I don't think that it's the shortcoming of standalone.
It has nothing to do with that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you just don't like the Assassin's Creed gameplay loop. There's
too many people that have raved and said that I respect, Main Fan being one of them, you, MASH, that say that this game is amazing, that they love it. And so I can't say it's trash, because I can't. I voted for it as Game of the Year because of that. I just don't, for me, I have maybe I should at least give it another shot, just because Main Fan's saying, you know, maybe I would think it was better. So, but yes,
the stories and environments are just amazing in that game, and the size of the world. I mean, there's a lot that's really good about it.
You know what I have thought about playing, and this is just because Skull and Bones was such trash, and I just watched a couple of videos on like Assassin's Creed and Black Flag and stuff. Like, that game actually looks pretty cool. I wish I could play that in VR. I wish that was Skull and Bones. I wish that was the Assassin's Creed we got, because like boarding other pirate ships and actual doing sword fights, and that would be really cool. And I think that's what I think Assassin's Creed could have been better without playing this version of it, but like having all that extra those side quests. And that's why I would love to see it on PC and PlayStation. I think that would have had all the extra stuff. Like from what I've heard, some of the best parts of Assassin's Creed are the quest where you got to go kill some random person, and a lot of that was kind of left behind, you know. So
right.
The next one, Nexus 2.
There you go. Black Market Honey says, "How's it going, boys? Meta has a sale on. What would you choose between Arizona 2 and Assassin's Creed?" So this is interesting, and I think this is really going to come down to personal taste.
Yeah.
Because in terms of like the scope of the game, this is a no contest in favor of Assassin's Creed. The gameplay is much more variety and depth, and so does the game in general. Yeah, there's a lot more game here, but some people just love a good, polished, linear, story-driven zombie shooter, and if you're one of these people, then you're gonna love Arizona Sunshine too.
You can
so it's kind of difficult
with
to
friends.
say. Yeah, exactly. You can co-op 2 people in the campaign and up to 4 in the horde mode. So yeah, it just depends on what you want out of a game. I would say Assassin's Creed is a more impressive production than Arizona 2, and it's definitely a much deeper game in every aspect. But Arizona Sunshine 2 is solid, so I think they're both must own, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. If you like that type of gameplay, like Assassin's Creed, it is amazing. You're gonna love it. Same thing with the same thing goes for Arizona Sunshine 2. You know, if you hate shooters, you're not gonna like it. It's a shooter, but it's a really good shooter. It's probably one of the best, and you know, it's mixing Arizona Sunshine 1 with After the Fall. So what could go wrong with that, right?
Yeah, plays very similar to the first Arizona Sunshine, but it's a modern version of it. Yeah, so they're both very good.
And my only problem with that type of game these days is, and it's funny because it's the same thing that you love about it. Because I was saying this during the stream, I guess I don't want to have to search everything. Like that to me is like, I know that's added. It's like added time. I got to search all these drawers. I got to look through this. I got to grab all the glue. You know, I need more glue. It's just too much. I just want to go through, and this would be blasphemous to Wes. Just give me unlimited bullets, and I just want to go through and just fucking kill everything and experience the story, right? And you say the exact opposite. There's too many bullets. It just shows the mindset. You know what I mean? You really want to make it harder and more realistic, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not only that. Like I like to really appreciate the worlds and the maps that I'm in and really digest them. And I love it when a game gives me a reason to stop and look at everything. So not only do I want it to be more realistic, but I want an excuse to look around.
How do I look around if I'm just blowing through the level? Oh wait, that's what you're saying. You don't blow through it. I got you. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, we move along. It is that time again, friends, for us all to go together and support our local VR devs by wishlisting one of these awesome games that we talked about today. And Ruuts, I know where I'm going. I'm going to Wally World. I'm not going to Wally World. I'm going to HappyFunLand. HappyFunLand is the game that I chose to wishlist this week. But there were others. I mean, obviously Max Mustard, Captain ToonHead, Twilight Zone, Akka Arrh. Slender Man, The Arrival. Lots of cool stuff we talked about this week. So for those of you out there who wouldn't mind taking a moment to go and wishlist the game right now, it's a big deal and it really helps these studios to gain exposure on the storefronts that they're trying to sell on.
Can I wishlist too? I want to do HappyFunLand and Max Mustard. They're both.
You can
amazing.
wishlist all the games you want. That's the beauty of the wish list, my friend.
Yeah,
You can
it's
wish
good.
away. It's free.
Yeah, it's free and it's a good idea. And I would also use it for, the modded stuff too. If you're doing that, like Dee said she does for the, when she comes across a pinball table that she wants to play, like in Pinball FX1 or anyone that you can do in the VR mod, she'll wishlist it because those are so expensive, right? But then they go on sale for like $1, and then you pick them up. Good to go.
Yeah, that's the cool thing. That's the benefit from wishlisting that you get. It's not all just about helping the developers. It's about helping yourself because you'll get notifications when your wishlist games go on sale.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tony Savino is asking the most important question I've read all night, just because I'm a fellow democracy person here. Says, anyone think Helldivers 2 single player is any good? I don't have friends. And that's the whole thing. You're fighting for democracy, Wes. It's the hardest game. Well, Wes watched some of the gameplay last night. You kind of need friends. Like, you need a crew. I've tried one. You can go into first, like, easy mode by yourself, but it's hard. Even that is hard. And it's so much fun with other people. And you can do randos. People do a lot of random people. I don't, but it's an amazing game.
Yes is the answer.
Yes, yeah, definitely pick it up, definitely play it, and it's coming to VR. You heard it here. I'm putting it out there, hopefully crossing my fingers somehow the devs do it, because that would be amazing.
That's the first title. That's the mystery title. Right?
That's a mystery title. If that was a mystery title, I'm gonna freak out, dude, because like I actually really am enjoying that game, and I think it would. Not every game would be enhanced by VR, but that one absolutely would, because the scale of these bugs. Some of the one, like the one came up across last night, was like this huge giant spider-like type. His legs were like 3 times as tall as me. I got an achievement for killing it. That's cool.
That is cool. And that, my friends, bring us to our final reminder this weekend, every week, and that is how you can support us, our channel, and our community. Of course, if you haven't already, why haven't you subscribed? Like, we do this so that you'll click that button in support of us, and you're not doing it. So what else do we have to do? We give away keys left and right. Like, we talk about all the stuff that your favorite VR channels don't talk about. And plus, we're awesome dudes. So click the subscribe button, ring the bell so that you'll be notified when Virtual Strangers is about to go on the air. But then, of course, if you want to do a little something more, maybe you're already subscribed. Maybe you think Ruuts needs a better microphone or Wes needs a better set of headphones. Well, you can help out with that by joining us on Patreon. $3 per month is all we ask. You get our weekly show notes, you get insider updates, you get exclusive content, and you get your name on the ticker at the end of every show. Not only that, but you get to feel good about yourself knowing that you did your part to help us grow and help us get better. Once again, shout out and thank you to everyone who supports us monetarily or otherwise. We appreciate your support.
Yeah, even like Wes said, the people that give us a subscribe or a like, that helps as well. So appreciate
Absolutely. And of course, if you don't have any money, that's okay. We get it. Things are tough all over. That's why Virtual Strangers Discord is absolutely free to join. There's an invitation link in the description down below. This is where we hang out. We're accessible 24/7, 365. We're in Discord talking about things, laughing at things, crying at things, mostly laughing at things. But it's an awesome community. It's a family atmosphere, and you will be greeted at the door. So come on in. It's warm in here.
Yeah, it's warm, and politics are left at the door. That's the best part. Nobody wants that shit in there.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear your bullshit about Nobody wants to hear you regurgitate whatever the guy on TV said, which is just bullshit, fake news. And that goes for all you Fox people and all you NBC people. It's all bullshit. Turn it off.
Yeah, turn it off. Go outside. Play some VR. Oh, wait. Stay inside. Play some VR.
There you go. And with that said, friends, we'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Ruuts, I'm Wes. We'll see you. Wait. Well, we probably won't. No, we won't see you on Friday this week. I'm going to be in Boston this week at PAX East and the GameCast meetup.
Oh my
so
God.
I guess
Tomorrow.
Shit, I don't know when we'll be back. I don't know when. Yeah, I guess tomorrow will be our CruCast, but
yeah, Sunday.
but we might be off all next weekend because I don't get back till Sunday. So I thought we'd be doing the show
how
then.
exciting, man! You're gonna be hanging out with everybody, meeting so many of these people in person, for real, and getting to hang out with Brian. It's just I guess everybody, right? The whole crew.
Yeah, the whole crew's
cool.
going to be there. That's right. I'm very much looking forward to it. And we'll be sure to take some photos and video to share with you all when we get back.
Crazy. That's amazing. That's awesome.
Anyway, for Ruuts, I'm Wes. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Take it easy.